Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing all my American Girl dolls with you. It is a follow-up to a video I did 2 years and 2 weeks ago, exactly at the time I'm uploading this. The difference being, this time I'm sharing dolls after I've downsized and done a little bit of upsizing. Now that I've made some room in my displays, I've been buying a few dolls that were either on my mind or just feel different enough from what I sold off. And I've made some rules to my collecting now, so that's why I want to share the dolls that have made the cut, that are still in my displays, and there may even be an unboxing or two as I go along. Just because now that I've cleared up this space, I've been doing the work to integrate some dolls that you'll understand as I go along why I haven't had room until very recently. Another difference from my last video is I'm going to go by mold. So because there are 13 different molds of American Girl dolls, I'm going to go, I'll start with the classic mold dolls and work my way up to Claudie. The reason I'm doing that is because last time I did this, it was so much work, it took so long, and I thought I'm never gonna do this again. It's just too much, it's too overwhelming. And so I figured if I just go by mold, then it's a lot easier to categorize the dolls, and then as I get on to the next mold, I can put away the dolls afterward. I'm not gonna accumulate them all behind me like I did last time. I'll figure out another way to show them maybe, but just know that I'm not going to be having everything behind me this time, because for those of you who saw that video, I even had put up special shelves for it and they fell out as I was doing the video because there was just too many dolls, too much weight, and I learned my lesson. I don't know the exact number, so what I'm going to do is I have a little note down here that I'm going to be keeping. So as I go through each mold, I'll write down how many there are, and then at the end I'll tally them up, and now I'll know my current number of dolls that I have, American Girl only. There are other things I collect, but they're not coming into this video at all. I may talk about them, but you're not going to see anything else. My guess is about 80. The problem most I probably had at once was 200, and when I shared them last time, I believe there were 114. And when I started my channel, I think I had about 80. So I think that's why I want to go with 80. Like, I feel like I'm back at a good place where, now I'm almost not starting from scratch, but I'm starting from the same place number-wise as I did about 2.5 years ago at this point when I started this channel. When I get to each mold, if there's a doll that comes in a box, like a limited edition doll, I'll start with those dolls just to get them behind me and out of the way as quickly as I can, because they do take up so much space, and I do expect that they're going to overwhelm me at times if I don't just get them done and over with. So I'm jumping in now with the classic mold dolls, and I'm going to start with those limited edition dolls that I already alluded to. The first one I'm going to share is a doll who, when she came out, I want to say she was a little bit controversial. People were so upset about this. I still don't understand why. She's a classic doll. And that's the other good thing about starting with the classics, is not just because we're going in order, but you can see the journey that I can explain the journey I've gone through trying to downsize and the rules I've made for myself. But when she came out, I thought she would have been received a lot better. I was really excited for her, and I still kept her. But part of the reason I kept her, so one of the rules about what I'm keeping is if they're going to be limited edition dolls, I have to be able to display them or put them away until the holidays. So this first one is a holiday doll, and it's Kirsten's Surprise. And when I was saying that some of the rules that I've made, not just being very judicious with the limited edition dolls I keep, I also decided I had to be very strict on the historical dolls I can collect, because the thing about historical dolls is I end up wanting so much. I can't pick and choose. It's like anytime I see an outfit that I love, I'm just going to make an excuse to get it. Sometimes, quite a few times, I wouldn't just want the outfit. I'd want another doll, either a Truly Me doll or another copy of that doll to go in the outfit. And so I realized that's a big thing I have to avoid. I have to put my foot down and not do that anymore. So I had a couple Kirstens at one point. I think I had 3, and now this is the only Kirsten I have left. And she's the perfect one for me to keep because she's a holiday doll. That means I can put her away until the holidays and really enjoy her when I bring her back out. For example, when I brought her out for this video, I was like, oh, I wish it was Christmas right now so that I can enjoy her a little bit. So I'm going to take the time to enjoy all these box dolls that I put away while I record this video. And I actually had a really sweet, pleasant company Kirsten doll who I really loved very much, but I put my foot down, and just a lot of beloved dolls had to go. And some people would probably think it's the opposite of what I should have done, keeping this particular Kirsten. But I really, like I said, I love the way she's displayed. I love the way she looks, especially as almost a holiday ornament. And let me bring her up close. So I've talked in here a lot about the eye colors. So this is the modern light blue. And to me, it looks just like a brighter blue. So I believe when you buy the CYO dolls, if you get blue eyes, it says light blue. And I've noticed, well, the one CYO doll I had, I'd bought her on the second market with blue eyes. I noticed that her eyes were very bright. So now that I pulled out this Kirsten, I'm like, oh, that's what light blue is. It's bright blue. So Summer has this color. I have another doll, I think, who has this color. But they're not very different from the regular blue or the dark blue, whatever you'd want to call it. And you know what? Because this is the biggest box of the ones I'm going to bring out, I'm just going to get her right behind me before I start pulling out the other box dolls. Because I do have, believe it or not, most of my my box dolls are from the classic collection. And they all have the same blonde blue-eyed aesthetic, which is so funny to me. As you'll see as I go along, I don't have a lot of those dolls. And the ones that quite a few of them, they get put away. Well, they're in boxes. So not just that they get put away for the holidays. You'll see. Give me one sec. Because this next doll is the same blonde blue-eyed aesthetic, but she's also the first limited edition American Girl doll I ever bought. And one thing to explain, because I'm in Canada, so we have to do workarounds in order to be able to order a lot of the limited edition dolls. They don't always come here. They especially didn't back when Barbie was released, which is who's coming up, by the way. So here's the first Barbie release. Some people call her Ponytail Barbie. Some people call her the original Barbie. I don't know. I just call her Barbie because she was the original one that I had. And so when she came out, she was released to the Berry Tiers and it kind of trickled down. And then on the last day, she was released publicly. And when I say publicly, I mean she went to all tiers on the American Girl website, as well as I believe it was the Mattel Creations website. So luckily, because I didn't work that morning when she went live, but I set an alarm. I woke up, I quickly ordered her. And I believe once she went to Mattel Creations, she sold out very quickly. Like she was gone in a flash. It must have been a couple minutes. So I felt very lucky that I was able to get her. But at the time, I was only able to get her because back then, this would have been almost 3 years ago at this point, I believe, when she was pre-ordered. Because yeah, there was another thing. She was pre-ordered like a year in advance, which I haven't seen. I've seen with other stuff since, but I haven't really seen that with the limited edition dolls. Usually they're ready to go. But I mean, they knew the numbers. They knew it was going to be 5,000. So it's not like they were pre-ordered, made to order. So it was a very strange, at least to me, it felt strange. But, and now that I've collected American Girl longer, I realize how strange it was. But anyway, what I was getting to is at that time, because it was so long ago, I used to have an American address, work-related, that I would visit all the time. And that's changed. A lot has changed since then. You know what I'm talking about without me having to say it. So now I no longer have access to get dolls directly to an American address. You know, a lot of Canadians don't cross the border. This isn't going to become about that, but I'm just trying to explain why back at the time I was able to get her. I was very lucky. Times were different. And so when I say she was the first doll I ever ordered, pre-ordered or limited edition doll, I was very lucky with many others who were able to probably get it. She was easier to get. The dolls were easier to get in Canada back at the time. And so $450 later, because that's USD converted to Canadian, and then driving, the 2.5 hours to get her. It's a good thing I love this doll as much as I did. And I do really love her. She's very unique because of the unique skin tone and I'm not a Barbie person, as silly as this is going to sound as I go through this video, but I have lots of memories of Barbie because I grew up in the 80s. And so there were she's always been, since she came out, what was it, 1959 that the original Barbie doll came out. She's been an icon among doll collectors. So of course I have experience with her, but it's just strange to think that all the collabs they've done, Barbie, limited edition wise, are the only dolls that I've kept. So let me show her too in case you haven't seen her. And if you see that she has a string of pearls on her, obviously, maybe not obviously, but just know that I put those on there because I used to have her in Mary Ellen's world. So she has been put back in the box. I just, copied how she was in there before. And so I don't like that the neck joint shows. It's probably so silly that I left the string of pearls on her because that's not how Barbie looks. It's like I'm ruining the entire illusion or aesthetic of her being Barbie. And as far as collabs go, so far, Classic Mold is Barbie and hasn't made it into the Disney World or any of the other collabs that they've done that I could think of off the top of my head. So I think it's cute because this was the original there's a classic Barbie mold and there's a classic American Girl mold. So it makes sense. But then I thought when they came out with the next Barbie, because the face was updated so many times and was so different from this face, I was surprised they use Classic Mold for Peaches and Cream Barbie. And I hope this isn't too much and the sound doesn't get weird with all these doll boxes. And then the funny thing about my Peaches and Cream Barbie is when I reacted to both of them, both the Peaches and Cream dolls, I had a very negative reaction to them. Peaches and Cream was one of the ones one of the dolls of my cousins I played with a lot growing up. So I wanted to, I think if I knew that there was an American Girl Peaches and Cream coming out, I would have wanted her to look a bit more the like the Barbie doll that I remembered. And it's so hard. None of these dolls are really going to look like Barbies or anything. That's not American Girl. But I think I had such a hard time warming up to this doll, to both of them, because of the the creative license they took, and just like you look at that bodice and how I remember one of the things. It's such a core memory of how that bodice looked, the faux leather that was iridescent. So there were just all these little things that I was like, no, it's not the right one. And I reacted so negatively, but then I did end up getting, you'll see later, I did end up getting the other one well, I what do you call it? Split it with someone. They wanted the outfit and the box and everything, and I just took it all. So someone was very kind, and they sent me this doll as a gift, saying, I think if you saw her in person, you'd really like her. I do try to get as many of the skin tones as I can, because some of them are unique, and she has a unique skin tone. So where this one is like a porcelain white, this is like a peachy, pinky kind of skin color. So so the person sent me the gift, and they just said, unbox it on your channel, and that'll be, that's all you have to do to pay me back, kind of thing. And I did record an unboxing. I talked about this, and I did a wrap-up video for the 2025. And I did an unboxing, but because it was at a time I was downsizing, and I was trying to what do I do with all these big old boxes? I was already freaking out about all the ones that I had because I had accumulated so many, that the video I recorded was terrible. I've already told the story, so I'm trying to say it quickly. So the video that I recorded looked like a ransom letter. And so I was like, I can't upload this. I look so ungrateful. It's because I was so overwhelmed at the time. And I messaged the person to tell them that, but I didn't hear back. So I didn't know. For all they knew, I took their doll, sold it. I mean, just took their gift and sold it, threw it in the garbage or whatever. But it wasn't that. It's just that I didn't know what I was going to do with the doll yet. However, I ended up sharing the story and the doll. And yes, I hear from the person. I've heard from the person again. We've talked. And the reason so as I'm talking about downsizing, one of the dolls that I downsized was a custom Barbie from a Tenny doll that I made to go with her. And then I sold that doll recently, and the person was like, you're not getting rid of the Peaches and Cream Barbie, are you? And I was like, no, rest assured I'm not. In fact, I will show you, all of you, later in the video, what I did instead to make up for the day to night Tenny custom that I sold off very recently when I was downsizing. So I think that's all I need to say now about the Barbie dolls. They are so strange. These are the ones I keep up all year long. And it's I don't think it's just because of the story, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I just feel this compulsion or not even guilt or anything like that, but it's a gratitude. I feel like this doll feels so special because of it, that I do like keeping her out, both of these dolls. So she's up in Mary Ellen's world next to the Seaside Diner, and then she's up in Courtney's world next to Courtney's bunk bed, because they're both, she's from the 50s and she's from the 80s. So what I'm saying is, I still love this doll, and this is to everyone, not just the person who gifted her to me. But I definitely have said enough about the Barbies for now, that I put them behind me and start getting to, this is the end of the limited edition classic mold. So now I can get to breathing again by talking about dolls that are actually open and just easier to show. Oh, and not only did I have a really adorable PC Kirsten, I also had the re-release that came out about 2 years ago that I unboxed on here. And the whole set that came out at that time, I kept them all in their boxes. I opened them up and I showed them in videos all the time, but I never put them out on my display. I kind of like them being in the boxes. And I've already mentioned that getting rid of boxes was a big deal for me. That was, step one. And so that's why I got rid of, that's why she's the only Kirsten who's left, because at least I could put her away for the rest of the year. Now, moving on to the open dolls, or the free dolls from the classic mold. The first one I'm going to show is a really important doll to me, because my American Girl journey really started with her, and she's, the nostalgia bait is there for me. So I've had a lot of her collection even before I had any American Girl dolls. In case you don't know who that is, it's 1986 Courtney. I was about to say 1984, I don't know why, but so another blonde, blue-eyed doll. That's like all my classic mold dolls, but not really. You'll see next. So this doll, well, I think I would have a really hard time letting go of her. And not that she's hard to replace by any means, especially considering some of the dolls I let go of, but still, because she's the first Courtney I had, I don't think I would ever try to replace her. I don't think I would get rid of her. It would be very, very last dolls if I tried to get down to my final 10. I don't even know if I could narrow down to 10 with what I've got left and loving them all so much, but I'll have to figure something out one day maybe. And I have most of her wardrobe, but I'm being redundant now because I do videos about Courtney and her collection all the time. If you're wondering, her hair only looks this good because I took a long time to work on those curls. And it's just because I've done her hair. I could put it up in side ponies. I've done different kind of things. She comes with so many nice, or fun, what would you call them? Like hair clips and hair and scrunchies and stuff like that. So I'm always tempted to do stuff with her hair, but then I want to reset it to look like this, except it looks way better now. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's easy to fix it if you just know how to wet set curl. So if you think she looks cute, you could probably do it to your doll too. And as part of Courtney's world, the only doll from the classic mold is, I've called her Tina, but you'll probably see that it's not Tina. There's no Tina doll. And I don't always plan to keep her in this outfit. The last time I did a Courtney spotlight, this is how you got to see my Be Forever Samantha. And I'm going to have a lot to say about Samantha over the next few minutes because she's another doll who had a really big, bad impact on me. It was really bad for my collector brain. So just know that this is Be Forever Samantha, and that's why she doesn't have the line eyebrows, which makes her look a little bit better in the 80s. And I think I have a really cute Be Forever Samantha. So even though I was planning to downsize her as well, I'm kind of glad I didn't. I hid her within my display, and then I found a purpose for her. Maybe that's why I didn't want to sell her or get rid of her, whatever I was going to do to get rid of her quite so fast, because she found a perfect place to fit in. But now I have to talk about actual Samantha. And this little girl right here, this little lady, is the one who put me, she's the one who sent me on a collecting downward spiral, to the point where I don't regret her, but I regret what my collector brain did once I fell in love with this doll. And before I had this doll, the only of the OG dolls that I had, I believe, was Molly. I didn't care for Kirsten that much when I, first got to know the original three. Molly was my favorite, except for her and Samantha's shoes. But then I saw somebody selling this girl locally. Well, not locally, but it was somewhere I could drive to and pick her up. And it was somewhere I drove by all the time. And I was like, why does this Samantha look so cute? And it's something about the width of her face. She's got a really wide face and she's got really expressive, upward looking eyes. And something about her just felt like a little baby. And I think, because these dolls were originally designed as babies by Gots, that's of course why they don't look like that. That's why they have the two front teeth, right? Because they have little baby faces. And it was my first time experience a Pleasant Company doll as well. So then I was like, oh, this is what people talk about with the quality, with the skin being, well, not skin, but the vinyl being so smooth and you can squish it. It's not as squishy as some other dolls, but it's definitely squishy compared to the Mattel American Girls are almost hard as rock. Sometimes you have to get them in boiling water in order to soften their face. So I took her home, I cleaned her up a little bit, and because she was a little bit messy, but I didn't notice it because she was so cute. And then when I cleaned her up, I was like, whoa, this girl sparkles. And she has so many cute outfits that I would buy. So when I bought this one, I bought a couple for her. I put this on her and I was like, oh no, I never want to take her out of the midi outfit. So what am I going to do with all these other Samantha outfits I bought if I never want to change her? And I just kept buying more and more Samantha dolls. At the end, I had five PC Samanthas and then my one Be Forever Samantha. So that was a problem. And I did end up selling, of the five, I ended up selling two. And I ended up throwing two in the garbage. Because here's what I learned from my Pleasant Company collecting, and then it became a rule not to collect any more Pleasant Company dolls, is people don't always disclose when they have that smell, and I'm extremely sensitive to it. I hate it so much. And I'm not saying that people should disclose it. I'm just saying maybe it's something we should expect. But I didn't know it until I experienced it because I didn't grow up with these dolls. So I had two Samanthas that were so brutal. They were so bad. I remember I had to put them away. I put them in a closet. And it was just like a closet where I store old boxes. And I opened that closet one day to put another doll away, and I was like, whoa, I almost felt like I felt like I was in a gym locker room from the smell. That's how bad it smells to me. It smells like an old hockey bag or something. Not an old hockey bag. A currently well-used hockey bag is what the smell was to me. So that was an easy way for me to go, okay, no more Pleasant Company dolls. Let me sell off the ones that I'm obviously going to keep her. She's one of my favorites. She doesn't have that smell at all. And I still have maybe one or two more Pleasant Company dolls I'll end up showing. One maybe that doesn't have the smell either. But I'm just saying, so the two I wanted to sell off because I was like, you can't keep displaying 5 of the same character at all times. You already do that with one particular character, and I have to work on that too. So that's where it was like, sell off whatever I can because it smells nice. And I don't even want to sell these ones that smell so bad because I, first of all, don't want to handle them anymore. So I ended up what I did because I love her eyes. She's got those dark brown decal eyes. I did harvest the eyes for future customs. I may use them one day, but I got rid of the dolls. I didn't have the heart to sell them to anybody because imagine they didn't know. And the very few dolls I did sell, maybe one doll I sold, I just warned, when I did the video in here, he smells really strong. And if you have an intolerance like I do, don't buy him. And then the other thing, so those dolls that I threw out because they smelled so bad had two of my other favorite outfits of hers. And I was going to change her into one of them for the video because I wanted to show her off in a different outfit for once. And I couldn't because they smelled like they were taken out of a gym bag. So I've been trying to refreshen them. I will probably just wash them, and then I'll finally get to show my real Samantha in another outfit for once, because I've had her in this for like 2 years. And my goal is, just instead of having 5 dolls, if you really need to have some of their outfits, just change them up. Just change them up. You don't need to have 10 of the same doll anymore. Or sometimes I feel like I do, but no, I need to work on that, and I am working on it. I think that's all I needed to say about Samantha, because she is such an important doll to me. So those of you who are familiar with me and her will probably know I was going to talk about her a lot. And let me get the last 3 dolls of the classic molds so that I can get on to the next mold, because this is going to be a long video, isn't it? I mean, you already know by the time you click on it. Another thing about the molds, talking about them by the molds, is I'm trying to put a maximum for each mold. The ones that aren't as plentiful as a classic mold, for example, I'm trying to have only 5 of each doll, 5 of each mold, 5 dolls of each mold. But that excludes the dolls that are in boxes. It's like, I made these rules, but I can bend them a little bit as long as it makes sense. So as long as they're, if I put them away, they can't be as included as part of the total that are always on display, you know what I mean? And I will not include boys as part of the maximum for the molds, the dolls that do have a closed mouth boy doll mold, part of the mold. So one of the exceptions is the classic mold, because there are so many classic mold dolls. So for the classic mold, my capacity is 10. I'm not there yet because I exclude the box dolls, even though 2 of them are on display. That's what I'm saying. If I can bend the rules a little bit, I am trying to be rigid, but I can bend them a little bit here and there. So just know that I haven't reached my capacity for classic molds. And that's another thing. I may talk at the end of each mold segment about dolls I may want to get one day, and you may see in an unboxing or just appear in a video randomly one day. Sometimes I like to do that. And the reason I'm saying that too is because the next doll I'm about to show is a new doll. I've shown her once. I didn't really get to talk about her because it wasn't about this particular doll, but she had just arrived that day, so I was excited. And I've already changed her up quite a bit. Her name is Cricket, and I bought her from another Canadian collector. So here's the thing about Cricket. She is a CYO doll, a CYO classic mold, that I believe one of the previous owners, because the person I bought her from wasn't the original owner. I believe the previous owner changed her eyes to these. Remember this old light hazel eye that like Maya had, and Leah had this eye color, and then I put freckles on her. Just so you know, this is a CYO. For some reason, somebody made a CYO without freckles or without pierced ears, and I'm like, who would make a CYO and not get all the bells and whistles? Because you're paying so much for it. So she, from what I can tell, is the lightest skin tone. Sometimes it's really hard to tell right from batch to batch, but when I compare her to my other CYO of the number 5 skin tone, it looks pretty similar. So I think she's that skin tone, and she just has what looks like, would this be the long straight hair or the medium straight hair? I'm not sure. I haven't used those combinations yet in the CYO generator. And her outfit is Maple Lee. She's wearing an outfit that so as soon as I bought this doll, I was like, oh, one day I'm going to get this outfit for her. And I'm not even kidding. Somebody messaged me to say, are you still looking for that outfit? And I was like, yes, more than ever. Why, do you have it? And so no word of a lie, both the doll and the outfit, both bought from Canadians, arrived at my place on the same day. And they weren't supposed to arrive on the same day. So that's why I was so excited, I think, to show her in the video that I also did. I don't know when this video is coming up because it may take a long time to do. But yeah, so it was all meant to be. This is Cricket. And so she's one of the new classic molds, because as I said, I can make space for 10. I can allow 10 in my collection, and there are so many rules about classic molds that I think I've got quite a ways to go before I get there. I hope I've said everything I need to say. Oh, she's a nature girl. This is so stupid. Her real name is Bridget, but she goes by Cricket because someone in school when she was little thought her name was Cricket. They didn't hear Bridget. They'd never heard that name before. And because she loves things like bugs and nature, she has chosen Cricket as to be her name. It's nickname / her chosen name. So this is Cricket, real name Bridget. I don't know why I come up with these stupid stories in my head, but they stick. And if they stick, then I share them. Why not? And then this next doll is some of you who are familiar with my channel, my videos, will probably already know that she is an almost downsized doll. So it's like she's halfway between a downsized doll and a new doll because I had cold feet and canceled the sale of my Truly Me 21. See, she's a 10 skin tone. They look different, right? She looks lighter. I believe she's lighter. So the thing about Truly Me 21, whose old name was Charisse, I did remember because she's Bethany now. Because I feel like she's a new girl. You know, I almost got rid of her. I didn't want that poor broken-hearted doll to feel like the same doll. So now she's Bethany. And so the thing about Truly Me 21 is very interesting. So she has also the light hazel eyes, like Cricket beside me, and the pink curls. So because this doll has been through a few iterations, she's had no pink curls, she's had the darker hazel eyes, but this, I've compared her to all my hazel eye dolls, and I have both the dark and the light, and this is some weird medium color. She's the only one out of all my hazel eye dolls who has this particular color, and you have to zoom right in to be able to see the difference between these two. You might not even be able to see the similarities, like maybe you don't even think it's the same color, but it's not the dark color that's out now. It's like a medium color. And yeah, right? So the CYO seems like the 5 skin tone. She's definitely lighter than Bethany. So Cricket is lighter than Bethany. So I'm convinced that she's the lightest skin tone from the CYO shop. And she's also, just so you know, a newer CYO. She's got the star imprinted on her foot. So she's not older, because if you see the difference in their eye shape, where she's oval and she's a little rounder. And also, that's why I think she's been eye swapped, because I don't know if the CYO generator or the CYO shop still has this tone of hazel. I think it is a deeper hazel now. I guess I'll see soon, because I may have a doll on the way, but not a classic mold. And did I have anything else to say about Bethany? I talk about her a lot lately. People must be so sick of her, but I'm not. I'm so relieved that I never let myself get rid of her. Yeah, I don't think that I was saying that she is some weird mid-range, like some in-between doll, because I believe the dolls that have the pink curls, the Truly Me 21s, they have the lightest hazel, which has become one of my favorite eye colors, by the way. I have so many favorite eye colors, but this is, I think because it's older, I don't really think about it as much, and it's not as available. So now I feel like whenever I see this eye color, I'm going to be very tempted to get the doll, even though I sold off a couple dolls that have it, like Maya, for example. And I don't regret selling Maya, because I think what happened was she didn't have her original braid. I guess I'll talk a little bit about downsizing as I go. She didn't have her original, I don't think it was her original braid, and I can't fix the braid, and that was part of what I loved about Maya. The doll I had had a really beautiful face. So I don't know if I would get Maya again, but I'm just saying that one of the things I loved about her was her eye color. But for some reason, whenever I redressed her, I wasn't really feeling her the way I do other dolls that I put them in a new outfit and they feel like a new doll. I didn't get that from Maya, and I think it's part of the reason I was like, okay, she can get the axe, even though she's a very beautiful doll. And so yeah, she's supposed to have that eye color, but it's a little bit darker. And even though it's not the original eye color, she still has the original pink curls. It's so confusing. For a while, I was like, did somebody eye swap her? You know, like keep the old wig with the pink curls, you know, because if she had gone to the hospital, she would have come back with a new head, which would have been the darker eyes and no pink curls, I believe, and she would have had wider eyes. So it's definitely not a hospital doll. And then the last of my classic mold dolls is another one I don't count for a couple of reasons. He's a boy, and he's not in my American Girl display. So this is Rory. He is the first boy classic mold doll, not the one with the flipped up hair. It's the one with the hair down. Not that it matters, because you can't even see it through his helmet. And there's a fun little story about him. He's off in my hockey display. He's in my Maple Leaf display. Did I say that? I don't think I did. But he's not just a boy, but he's also in my Maple Leaf display. So I definitely don't count him as part of my 10 classic mold dolls I'm allowed. But what's cute is I have had him on display with a Maple Leaf doll for probably 2 years. And it's a custom Maple Leaf doll. It was an East Asian, so they have an Asian sculpt as well for the Maple Leaf dolls. And it was an old one that I found in really bad shape. I got the doll for like $10. Swapped out the wig for one from Etsy. I'm not going to show the doll, don't worry. I do want the visuals to be all about American Girl. So I gave him, because I gave a short black wig so that they're both boys. So it is a white boy doll with an East Asian boy Maple Leaf doll. And so my partner, who doesn't really notice anything about my dolls, one day he came over, he's like, oh, you made a Heated Rivalry display? That's so cool. And I was like, what do you mean? Because I haven't seen Heated Rivalry. I know it's Canadian, and I probably should, because so many people have seen it and people think there's something wrong with me that I haven't seen it. But it's about hockey, and I hate hockey. My dolls can like hockey, and I think it's cute that he's in a hockey, I was going to say costume? Uniform? Uniform, right? So I like that for the dolls, but I'm not going to say I cannot sit down and watch a show about hockey. And everyone's like, it's just so little about hockey. I'm like, it's too much. If it's that much about hockey, it's too much. I cannot, not after my childhood trauma. So I haven't seen this show. And of course, that never occurred to me until he did one day. And it's like, oh, now you notice these two dolls? They've been up there for 2 years. You think it's based on a show I never saw or read the books. But anyway, it's a funny little story that it is cute that I made that display. And then, I guess 2 years later, or maybe a year and a half later, or however long, the show came out this year, I think, right? But it was not intentional. Oh, and now that I've shown you all of my dolls, so this is 9 for the classic mold. So I'm just going to put that in my little tally down here so that I know how many at the end I have when I'm done. Did I say I think I have 80? I think I have about 80. So as far as dolls, classic molds, I think I could put in my collection in the future. One very slight potential doll is Sage. So I had Sage, and I loved that doll. Mine had a really cute face. She was a very early doll that I bought. So early, in fact, I didn't realize her hair was cut. And it wasn't just cut, it was pretty hacked. Like she had layers cut here, was cut kind of on a slant on the back, but I fell in love with her face so much that I didn't notice. And so she's freckly, she's got really like a really rich red hair, not the sort of, nobody even has red hair on the screen right now. Some people consider Courtney strawberry blonde, but it was just such a really rich color. She had those unique aquamarine eyes, turquoise eyes. So if I ever come across one that I totally fall in love with, it could happen. I'm not saying I have a plan, but that I could see happening one day. Very small chance of Maya too, but not as likely as Sage. Because Sage, when I'd redress her, I loved her and everything. And what was the other doll? Oh, and because if you look at all my classic mold dolls, they all have very light skin tones. And so I would love to see a classic mold doll in a deeper skin tone, maybe a 30 or even a 35. And I don't think they would ever put that in Truly Me line. So one day I might just be tempted to get a probably 30 skin tone CYO doll, just create her myself. And so that's another doll that I could see. But I also do want to leave some room for any real actual releases that come out of classic mold dolls. Oh, and another thing, I don't want a Caroline in my collection, but one day I would love to find an old beat up TLC Caroline whose eyes are intact, because I would buy that doll just for the eyes, because they're one of a kind. And I sold my Caroline, and my Caroline was beautiful. She was the most beautiful Caroline I've ever seen, but I don't regret it, again, because the historical thing, and she was another one who, I had to have all these things go with her, and it became too much. But I did have a really beautiful Caroline. And so I remember a couple years ago, there was somebody had Caroline on locally to me. I could have walked there and picked up the doll. They were selling her for $10, or maybe it was 20, but really cheap Canadian, because they had cut the hair into a little bob. It was really well cut, but I was like, no, I can't get another Caroline. I already have the perfect one. But now I regret not getting it just to harvest the eyes. You know what I'm saying? So that could happen. I could see myself. I mean, it's very rare that would happen. So I don't see it happening, but just know that that's the end of my classic mold wish list. But again, very small chance of these things. The CYO is the most likely, but the other ones, yeah, don't be surprised if that ever happens. I'm not, I'm not walking back all the rules I've made. I'm just, bending some of them. All right, so that's it. 9 dolls for the classic molds. Let's move on to the second mold, which came out, which was Addy, one of my favorite molds. Don't be alarmed that the classic molds are still behind me. I will keep the previous mold behind me as I show the next mold, if that makes sense. I think you know what I mean. I'm just not articulating it properly. So the thing about Addy, the Addy mold, is I have I at one point had, I think, 5 of the actual Addy dolls. So I had like her anniversary doll, like what I was told was the 35th anniversary doll. When I downsized, turns out it wasn't that doll. I had, the one that came out 2 years ago or so. When I mentioned Kirsten, how I kept them all in the box, it was a Josefina, Kirsten, and Addy. I just kept them in their boxes at all time, because I didn't feel like opening up and putting them out in my displays. And then I also had Be Forever Addy, which was my first Addy, I think. She was at least my first Addy that I bought to keep as Addy, because I did have one that I customized because she was in pretty rough shape, and I bought her for the purpose of customizing her. And so I was saying before that I'm trying to get rid of as many of my historical collections as I can, and it's possible that one day Addy will join the chopping block. My compromise for now, because I don't have too many of the molds, for the record. I'm not lying. I'm not bending a rule here, but at least, I've already sold off the one that was in the box, and I sold off the one that I thought was the anniversary doll. It turns out it was just a Mattel doll, because the anniversary doll looked different, but the person I bought it from said she was. And listen, I'm not an expert here. I just love the dolls whatever I have in my collection, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to downsize a lot of my Addy collection, even a couple of her outfits. Okay, one of her outfits. But I couldn't get rid of yet. Be Forever Addy. And that doesn't mean she's going to go anytime soon. It just means it's possible. I planted that seed just in case I need to. And I also couldn't sell Pleasant Company Addy. This is the other Pleasant Company doll I mentioned before, where I think this is the only other one I have. And to those of you who know my dolls, know that means I must have sold off quite a few dolls that I loved a lot, but I had to, make rules. And I could only bend it just a little bit. I could only bend them a little bit. Because I only have, as I get through the rest of this, the dolls I'm showing you, I do only have 5 Addies. 6, but, the little rules, little bending of the rules I made. So they're both in their school uniforms, school outfits. Is that how they call them? She's in the reproduction of what would have been the Pleasant Company at one point. And the shoes that came with the school outfit are the same as her meet shoes. So I'm not sure if she's wearing her meet shoes or her school shoes, but I just can't let go of her yet. There's something so almost magical about the way she looks. She's so, I'm gonna have a hard time. But if I ever do, it's probably gonna be, sell them both as collections, as little bundles, so that I can, Band-Aid, rip off the Band-Aid. And then here is the Be Forever in her Be Forever school outfit. And I prefer the eyebrows. I prefer the eyebrows in the Be Forever Addy because I just think they have more personality. They're not just a line. And my PC Addy, her eyebrows are so lightly painted. I don't know if they're faded over time, but it makes me think of Whoopi Goldberg in The Color Purple, I gotta be honest, because if you remember, Whoopi Goldberg has never had eyebrows. I don't know if she was born that way or if she's always had that stylistic choice, but it just makes me think of, because it's like not old fashioned because it's way older than The Color Purple, but it just always, I think that's why I have this sort of connection with her. It just reminds me of a movie that I loved a lot when I was a kid. If I was ever in a bad mood, my parents would just put it on and be like, oh, Blaine, Color Purple's on. So that's why I just feel like I can't get rid of these 2 yet. I can't get rid of whatever I have left in my Addy collection outfit-wise. And her quilt, I have the red quilt, not the blue one because I prefer the original, not the Be Forever quilt. So I'm just a little attached to these 2 little ladies and one Addy Mold doll. Oh, I forget her number, but I've shown her even very recently. So this is Elsie, and I think as far as Addy goes, she's the most comparable. She's even wearing a Be Forever Addy nightgown. This is what she usually wears, but when I bring her in a video, I'm usually using her as a model to try on another outfit. So I don't think I show her in this too often, but she's always in it. She's always up in a little bedroom scene that I have with Claudie, if you want to know. But it's another Addy outfit, so I just feel it's perfect to show these 3 together. She's a sweet little precious Truly Me doll that I was able to buy for a really, really good price, within Canada, and that always makes a difference. And I just love her little Shirley Temple curls. So it would definitely be a long time before I sell this particular Addy. And okay, let me move on to because I only have 3 more left, and which means now I might have to clean up the classic molds behind me. Maybe this wasn't a good plan to do it this way. I'll be back in a second for you. I've already talked about CYOs because I've shown one that I bought secondhand, but the CYOs that I buy firsthand or on the primary market directly from American Girl, those are going to be very hard to part with, not just because they're personal. I've said this very recently, but the thing about CYOs is, at least within Canada, I do wonder if it's the same in the States. On eBay, it doesn't seem to be the case, but I find when people are buying or selling CYOs in Canada, they tend to be very cheap, especially because these dolls are about the same price nowadays as a limited edition doll. They're, I think, only $10 cheaper. They're $275, and the last limited edition doll I bought was $285, so $10 cheaper than a limited edition doll, and they're not limited. I guess it's fun, you get to design your own doll, but I don't really think they need to be that much money. That being said, the next doll I'm going to show you is the Nanea, my first Addy Mold CYO doll. She's a medium skin tone, red textured hair. These are the light brown decal eyes, which these are my most favorite eyes, and I probably have too many dolls with them because it's not a common eye color by any means, so it's probably a little bit silly that I have them on so many dolls. And at one point, I had a Maple Leaf outfit on her. Yeah, so she has a couple bruises on her arms from the threads that were in the sweater, and I don't know if I'm ever going to work on, if I'm ever going to try to treat it. Maybe I will, but I'll talk about another doll later that kind of scares me about treating it. It's like I'd rather just, even with her short sleeves on, it doesn't really bother me so much. It's pretty faint. I'm not happy about it, but You know, it's been a couple years, so I have dealt with it by now. And then the other doll, the last girl Addy Mold doll, is Hope. Also a CYO. This is the lightest skin tone, so this is Addy. And so the other fun thing about, I shouldn't say it's the fun thing, but I would hope that this is why people are using the CYO generator. It's to make dolls that you're not really going to see on the in the Truly Me line. I can't see them ever making an Addy doll at all, considering when was the last time they made one, but especially not in the 5 skin tone. I guess the Blair skin tone, number 5. And because me and I have such fixations, she's got pretty much, she's just a color variant basically of this Addy. So she's got the blonde textured hair, the same brown, light brown decal eyes, freckles, and just a skin tone. And I had her in mind to be, you know, a doll with albinism, but she could be multiracial, she could be, you know, mixed race. She could, you know, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to, I have to try to get, especially with CYOs, I should try to have more to their story than just like, oh, like their ethnicity. But that's what I was going for. I wanted to have a doll with albinism, but she's just not. She's not, the skin tone, I feel it's not light enough. She's just light. She just has light skin, you know what I'm saying? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's enough is what I mean to make her unique. And she's very unique in my collection. So is Nanea, even though I just got through saying they're kind of like color variants of each other, but they're so beautiful. Did I show them side by side? If I didn't, here they are again. And like I said already, CYOs are kind of special because you get to pick out their features and stuff like that, and they're so expensive. This is before the price hike. That was hard to say. So now when you buy them, they're even worse. And that's USD. And then the last Addy Mold doll is my Truly Me 77. So I had 3 of him at one point because when I love something, I go too much. And also, I got him back in the day that the store that carried them in Canada, Indigo, it's a bookstore, they were clearing out the dolls. And at the end, they had so many of him, they put him down to $50 at one point. And I'm like, $50? That's worth it just for the price of the wig. Because this wig, they haven't made him any Truly Me 77 in a long time. So it's, you know, it's kind of sad that we can't get this wig anymore. Maybe it's not as easy to make. I don't know why they stopped making him, but he is so cute. And as long as I have one, I should be happy. That should be my motto going forward. As long as I have one, I should just be happy with just that. And he's kind of been Claudie's brother in my collection. He's displayed with her right now, but sometimes I put him in the Seaside Diner because he just looks so cute in this outfit. And he looks cute in the apron and the hat too. But now he's back on display with his sister. Jody, by the way, I didn't even think I said his name. Too busy looking it up in the monitor. All right, so this is it for my Addy Mold dolls. I don't have any on my wish list because I'm not somebody who wants to chase those rare old dolls, you know, like the Truly Me #1 and all that kind of stuff. They're just not on my wish list. They're almost pipe dreams, and I don't even bother to think about it. But yeah, I think I'm happy with the Addy Molds I have, and I feel like if I got another one, the only way I could do it, justify buying it, is by getting rid of, you know, a couple of these girls, and I still think it's worth it yet to have another Addy on my wish list. So I think I'm good for Addies. I had to sell off enough that the trauma is still too fresh that I don't want to think about getting any more and just being happy with the ones I have for this mold for now. We'll see. Do you know what I almost forgot? I already have the Ultimate Addy Grail. How did I forget about Nevis? I have Truly Me 11. So I guess I do have one more extra Addy doll on top of my, you know how I said 5? She's up in Courtney's world right now, and I don't know how I could have forgotten her. I guess she's so unique that I forget she's an Addy Mold. And this is my other PC doll. So the other 2 PC dolls I have are both Addy. That's interesting. But she's not, she is never for sale. She's not saleable. Or I mean, she would be, but there's no way I could part with her. When I got her, she had silver eye. Just for the record, I feel so silly that I forgot her. But because I was about to write the numbers down, and I was like 6, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. So it's 7. I have 7 Addy Mold dolls. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked all over the place. I thought this was going to be the easy way to do this, showing all my dolls. Yeah, what else I need to say? She's got the same soft, squishy face. She was also bought in Canada. When I saw her, she showed up in my feed. I remember getting so excited to see her, not just because she was a Truly Me 11, but because she had silver eye and I wanted to have a silver eye doll. Turns out I don't, I guess, because I first gave her the light brown decal eyes. Then too many Addy Mold dolls, so I just gave her the regular pinwheel brown to sort of reset her to look like herself. So yeah, when she showed up in my feed, I got so excited for both those reasons. And I was like, oh, look at that price tag. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a Canadian selling this. So that's Canadian funds. That's CAD, the Canadian dollar. Then I was like, sold. You know, like she was meant for me, and I would never. It would be really, really hard for me to resell this or to sell on this doll. So she is pretty much a lifer here as long as I'm a doll collector. Anyway, now I can add the 7 dolls to my little checklist down here, which brings me up to 16. Am I forgetting? Yeah, 16, but I'm not gonna do this every time because I know I'll forget. I'll lose track. But anyway, now let me move on to the next mold, which is going to be very easy to share. There won't be too much up on the screen for you. I'll be back in a second. But even though I don't have a lot to share right now, I am at my capacity for this mold. This is Choi Hung. She is Truly Me 4, or Rainbow. Her name in English would be Rainbow. And they've only done one of this doll. At one point, I thought, you know, back when I didn't have to downsize so much, I thought it'd be really nice to, she's a Mattel version. I thought it'd be nice to find the PC version of her. And I also thought it'd be even nicer to find the hospital, the doll hospital version of her, because I don't know when they stopped doing her, providing or allowing her in the hospital, but I've seen one person with a doll hospital, Truly Me 4, and her eyes were bigger. So if you look at her, she's got the cutest thing is her little squishy smile. She's got the sweetest little face. So just, I guess, I don't even remember where. I saw it on Instagram. I don't remember whose it was. So it's not like I have ever taken a picture to share it, but just picture her eyes, but a little bit more, I don't want to say rounder necessarily, but they were definitely wider. But I definitely prefer this version. I always prefer the smaller eyed versions of any of the blinky eyed dolls, or any dolls maybe actually, because when they get big, they don't look human to me. Not that they look human. So anyway, she's, in case you haven't heard me say this 15 times already in other videos, I named her Choi Hung after my best friend's mom because that's her name. Choi Hung is her Chinese name. And when she moved to Canada, she kept her name, but just instead of choosing an English name like Bonnie or something, I don't know why that name came to my head, but instead of choosing an actual name, she was just like, my name is so cute in English, I'm just going to go by Rainbow. And I love that story. And I, you know, because it's, she reminds me, I'm not even kidding. She really does remind me of childhood pictures of my best friend. My best friend had the same hair, the same blunt bangs, long black hair in the back, and she had the same little cute little squishy smile. So when I saw the doll, I was like, oh, if I ever get her, I know what her name's going to be. I know she's going to love cats because my best friend loves cats. So that's why this is her doll. And, you know, because this is from Summer's collection, it's got the rainbow. So she's alone on here, but she's not completely alone. She's always got to have one of her cats with her. So that's why I always had her story or her name and everything like that was already picked out. But you know what's funny? On 3 separate occasions, my best friend, but it's been throughout, you know, spread out. It's not like it happened 3 weeks in a row or anything, but my best friend's been over and she gets her. She's like, oh, she's so cute. And I was like, oh, her name's Choi Hung. She's like, that's my mom's name. I'm like, I know, I named her after your mom. She's like, are you kidding? That's so sweet. I'm like, I was almost saying my best friend's name. I was like, I've told you this every time you've seen my American Girl doll. She's like, that is so sweet. And then she took, the last time, she took a picture of her to send her mom and say, look, this doll is named Choi Hung. So I'm like, you better remember next time, because it's very weird that I've had to tell you this 3 times now and you have the same excited reaction every time. And then the other thing is, she likes when I say her mom's name. I'm not going to say it on video like this, but she likes when I say it in the correct Chinese tones, because it's not, you can't just say Choi Hung like flat. I probably didn't even say Rainbow, you know what I mean, if I was speaking to an actual Chinese person. And then the other thing I like to say about Truly Me 4 is it's very funny that she's, when, you know, it was still produced, she was the doll they would put in the Chinese or the Lunar New Year outfits, because 4 is an unlucky number in Chinese culture, because in Chinese, I don't know if it's both Cantonese and Mandarin, or, you know, maybe one or the other. Probably both though, or no, probably my guess would be Cantonese, says the very English-speaking Canadian guy over here. But in one of the Chinese languages, at least, then the word for 4 is very close. I think it's just one tone away from the word for death. So they will try to avoid living in a house that has the number 4, and they will never live on the 4th floor of a building, if they're superstitious, at least, is what I'm saying. So it's very funny that the fundamentally Chinese doll is Truly Me 4. It's so funny how that would happen of all the dolls, you know what I'm saying, and the only time they made her. Very, very strange. I didn't mean to talk about her so much, but she is a special doll, and I have told way more about her, so I'm not going to go into that whole saga. Just know that I love this doll. She'll be one of the last 5 that I have too. All right, so that's it for the Asian mold. So I will put in my little list that there's only 1. That brings my total up to 17. But like I said, I'm not going to do that every time. And now I'm moving on to the Josefina Mold, which I have even more of her now than I do of classic, well, it's not behind me anymore, but the classic mold dolls. So I'll be back in a sec. Unfortunately, Choi Hung is not going to be able to hang out behind me for very long because the very first doll I'm introducing from the Josefina Mold section is one of the limited edition dolls. So she's in a big old box that I want to show you and then get behind me so that I can kind of relax and go on with the rest of this part of the video. So this is the last year's holiday doll, Glimmering Gold, and you'll see her very shortly again because I love this doll enough to get 2 of her. But keep in mind, she's only going to come out at Christmas or come out of the holidays, however you like to refer to it. But they got me with this wig. They got me so bad. This is such a beautiful wig. It's not the most beautiful when you open it up, which I learned when I unboxed one of them. But, you know, sometimes these beautiful curls take some time to settle. And she looks so beautiful in the box that I'm glad I got 2. I don't regret it because I'm just going to put her away. And when I pulled her out for the video, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be so excited. And I already said that to Kirsten, but I'm going to be so excited getting to see these dolls just around the holidays, you know? So it's not such a bad thing to have this be part of my rules. There's fun behind it. And, you know, I don't want you to think that this is the only box Josefina Mold doll I have, because I mentioned 2 things about the other doll already. One, that I was going to be doing at least 1 unboxing. I think I'm only going to do the 1 actually, because of the timing of the video. I think the other stuff will already be open by the time I get around to uploading this. And I also mentioned that when I sold off my custom Barbie, it was okay because I had a plan so that Peaches and Cream wouldn't feel alone. So it should be pretty obvious who's in this big box. And before I get to opening the Peaches and Cream Barbie who's in here, I want to explain that when I sold off the Tenny, I had it in mind that I would one day try to get this doll because she was always going on sale on the American Girl website. She's been on the Amazon Canada app for a really long time. Her price fluctuates so much. Talked about this before, that before the dolls pass the border, they're very cheap. They're much cheaper than buying them on the American Girl website. So they're under retail. And then they pass the border and then they're way above retail. So it's just, you got to try to get them fast or be patient. So I put one in my cart. I don't know how many months ago it was now, but whenever I realized I was going to sell Tenny, I just kept my eye on it. And at one point, it finally got down to the price, the before border price. Do you know what I mean? So it was finally cheaper than retail, but not as cheap as the sale price that, especially right now that I'm recording this, it's not as cheap as I think she's $165 on the website maybe. But she's never going to get that cheap on Amazon Canada. And American Girl doesn't ship her to Canada. So my only option was just to get her at a good price. So when she finally got back down to the pre-border price, I bought one. And I put her away and thought one day I'm going to have this set up. I've cleared out a spot for her just last night. As I was, preparing for this video, I cleared out the spot. It's not the right spot, but I have to do some downsizing of play sets, which maybe I'll talk about that at some point. But yeah, I've been downsizing play sets, and I do need to downsize those a little bit more because I do have a vision in my head for all the 3 Barbie dolls. Now that I have the 3rd one, let's open her. I'm so patient. I don't know if he's impatient. I think it was more so, imagine her eyes. Imagine she has bad eye placement, because that's the thing about Josefina for me, is she is tricky. And if I'm going to fix the doll's eyes, let's say customize a Josefina Mold doll, then I can get them looking good. And there's one doll I was able to fix her eyes without even taking the head off. So all is not lost if she's in bad shape. But I didn't know that when I bought her at the time. So this isn't a proper unboxing. I'm just shoving this in here because I can now open her and see how she looks. Please don't be upside down. Oh, good. Wow. So you tell me, is it bad? How are her eyes? Is she okay? You can't even see, can you, because of all the glare in the monitor? Fine, I'll tell you. Oh, wow. She is better than my other. You'll see her in a few minutes, but she's better than my other Peaches and Cream. Her eyes are, from here, they look perfect. I better hurry up and get her out so you can believe me. Wow. I feel like this is one of the best. I'm getting too excited. Imagine I pull her out and I'm like, oh, never mind. I just saw what I wanted to see. It is so funny to think she was probably just sitting there all that time taunting me, waiting for me to open her up so that I can finally see that she's good. I was worried for nothing. And I guess this is my first time unboxing. Not an actual complete Barbie on here. Wow, she looks really good. I'm going to take off the cover. Hopefully when I lay her down and pick her back up, it doesn't, send her eyes reeling, because that would be bad advertising, or oh, wow. She looks really good. I'm so excited. Relieved, I think. I don't mean that to sound like I don't mean that as gross as it sounds. I just mean like I've been kind of, wondering what she would look like, prepared for the worst. And yeah, she looks so good. Wow. Okay, so the two Barbies are in good company because both my Barbies look really good. I'll probably inspect her a little bit more later. But yeah, I'm so glad that she looks like this. Just fix one of these sequins right here. And I'm a little bummed because now I have to put her behind me and I don't barely get to spend any time with her. But look, just last time before I put her back up on the shelf behind me while I get to the open dolls. But the presentation of these dolls is very beautiful. I love that they replicated the box. And I don't know if I was sour grapes when I did my reaction, or, as I said this way back in the beginning when I was showing you the other Barbie, that maybe because the doll had so much, I had history with the doll, and, they're never going to do, they can't make it ideal just because the molds are so different from Barbie's. But she looks really good. I'm really, really glad, good things come to those who wait. And wow, I've been waiting to open this doll. All right. Let me put Peaches and Cream behind me so I can get to all these other Josefina dolls. You know what? I showed you the dolls in box, and I have doubles of both of them, so I might as well show you them now outside the box, just so you can see the difference once their hair is let out and once they're maybe even redressed. She's wearing elements of her glimmering gold outfit. Then the other thing is I dress her up wearing more gold, but hopefully you can see now what I mean by this beautiful wig. One of my favorites. Is it my most? No, it's not my most favorite, but it's one of them. It's very close. It's very up there. And she doesn't have as perfect eyes as Peaches and Cream. Whoops, wrong way. But her eyes are pretty good too. And I'm usually pretty picky about the ones I keep. Sometimes the eye placement is it, but it's not like I would sell off this doll anytime soon. If anything, I would take this wig, but no, I like her. And I don't plan to repurpose her in any way. But I have thought, because this is a doll that on Amazon Canada, when she's gone on sale, so I bought the two of them, but the pre-border price. So before they got here, like I knew when I saw this wig, I was like, oh, I'm gonna want her. I love this wig so much, because they don't always come out to Amazon Canada as soon as they hit the States. So I had seen people with their glimmering gold dolls, and I was like, oh no, I feel my resistance toward the Josefina mold is fading. And by the time she hit the Amazon Canada, I was like, yeah, let's just get both. Let's just be safe and get both. And then so that was already cheap, as in less than under retail. But then she also went on sale, I believe, on the AG site. So at times she has been on sale for way less than retail Amazon Canada wise. Like I think she was about 320 Canadian when I ordered her. And then I think I saw her go as low as 260, which is the same price Summer is on Amazon Canada. So do with that information what you will. I think that's all I have to say about Glimmering Gold before I move on to the redressed Peaches and Cream Barbie. Her name is Anya. It makes sense that she's in Courtney's world even when she's unboxed. But now that I have Peaches and Cream open, and she's going to be up in the display with Courtney's bunk bed with the other Peaches and Cream Barbie, it may be a while. I'm probably going to change her soon. So it may be a while before she ends up back in Courtney's world. You know what I mean? Like, this doll is so much fun to play with. I love the blue eye makeup, and of course she's got my favorite eye color against I would say this is a 30 skin tone, but it's so hard to say it definitively just because the dolls by batch, like if you look at these two beside each other, they don't look like the same skin tone, but it could be different batch, or it could be like the Peaches and Cream Barbie with the blonde hair, that they do have a unique skin tone and based more so on the Barbie skin tone back in the 80s. So I have this feeling that she's a little bit unique, or I tell myself that to feel like, oh, it's okay to have two 30 skin tone who are essentially the same skin tone, but they don't look the same skin tone. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. But also, nope, that's not true. Because I was about to say it's okay because this Barbie is going to be put away. But I feel like that because she's been put away for the last month or two. How long has it been? So now they're both going to be out. You're going to see that I'm at my capacity with Josefina, because like the classic mold, my maximum for Josefina is 10, and then the caveat is, the holiday doll is put away. So I don't know, that's only 9. That's still 9 when I think of her being put away. 8, because I'm going to count Peaches and Cream Barbie too. Just like I don't really count the other Peaches and Cream Barbie. All right, that's it for these girls. Let me bring out the next 3. I just wanted to get them kind of feel like a little bit of a set because they go together. And then I have quite a few more to show you. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about these next 3 dolls because they are the 3 Josefina Disney dolls. And I do have a video planned pretty soon to talk about the Disney dolls. And because I love the Disney dolls. I'm a Disney collector and I love the Disney American Girl dolls. They've become, my favorites. So let me show you, I'm just going in any order. I'm grabbing Ella first, Cinderella. I've dressed her up in Mary Ellen's wardrobe. She's been up in the Seaside Diner, and this is just her current Mary Ellen outfit. But as I'm trying to minimize my historical collections, if you noticed, I did have Mary Ellen at one point. She's gone, but I still have her Seaside Diner because anybody could be in it. It's just a 50s diner. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the 50s. So that's why she still lives there, but she doesn't have to be from the 50s. So that's why I do plan to change her up a little bit in my head. And then this doll is Paige. I'm saying it's Paige, but it's Belle. The reason I call her Paige is because I don't really feel, I don't like to keep all the names for the Disney dolls just because they're not Disney in my collection. So Paige O'Hara is the voice of Belle, and because she's booky, do I even have, I'm going to save all that for when I talk about the Disney dolls more, because I don't want to, this video is already going to be a monster, and I have so much more to say about these dolls when I do the Disney video, like I said, pretty soon. So here is Belle. I haven't altered her except for changing her hair a little bit and then putting her in a Maple Leaf outfit. And she is someone I opened pretty recently, so most of you will be familiar. I've zhuzhed her up a little bit since that video, but not enough that I need to talk about her any longer. And then the last, I guess she is the last one to come out too, is Manushi. I always say her full name, but she goes by Manu. I think I just love to say both names. And so she is Jasmine. I haven't altered these dolls in like change anything, but I've given her the Kaya eyes, which are the darkest brown. They don't make them anymore. Kaya now has the regular pinwheel brown. I say that all the time. I'll mention it again when I talk about the Kaya dolls. And she's just so beautiful. I love that she could be racially ambiguous. She could be a lot of people would be able to see themselves in her, I think, because of the coloring she got. She's got the unique skin tone. Well, it's between her and another Jasmine doll now. But anyway, I feel like these, I can't imagine what it would take for me to sell the Disney dolls out of my collection. I would be, like I've said this before, but it's like I would have to be completely done with American Girl. So now let me show you the last three Josefina Mold dolls, because I already warned you, I have the most of her. Next is a Josefina Mold doll I haven't properly introduced. I showed her in what probably was my last video when I unboxed, ironically enough, well, no, it wasn't ironic, the modern Josefina doll, who is, of course, no longer here, if you saw that video. And I didn't want to talk too much about this doll in that video yet, because it was about modern Josefina. This is, oh, her name rhymes. This is Selena, and so there's a little bit of a complicated story with her. I don't know if she's moving in or if she's more of a foster child, because when I bought her, I was already, so she came with a different eye color. This is her eye color, by the way. I think it's Truly Me 66. And so the person who had her before is the same person who had the CYO doll, who had changed them to that light hazel. She had the same eye color, the Leah Hazel color. And even though it looked really beautiful on her, I ended up looking at pictures of Truly Me 66 and I thought, wow, what a pretty doll. I don't need another Josefina Mold, but she's so pretty, and I want those eyes for another doll, the Hazel that she came with. I haven't shown that doll yet, so I'll talk about her again. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I need another Josefina Mold doll, but at least I can get those eyes with her, and then I'll figure out if I have to downsize one day. But this is my problem with the Josefina. It's so easy to accumulate them because they do such a variation with her. There's so much variety in Josefina Mold dolls. She has such beautiful wigs, unique combinations and things like that. So this is a really beautiful combination of such almost black hair. It's so straight, it's so soft. And the regular brown pinwheel eyes. So what I was saying was I looked up pictures of her and I thought, okay, I'm making an excuse to buy this doll because I want the eye color. But, I don't have to keep a doll forever. So the person who sold me the doll, as she was about to box her up, she noticed that there were some stains on her, like in her armpits and on one of her arms. And so she luckily noticed, because I think if the doll had shown up and I had seen all these stains, because I would have seen them, I would have felt like, oh, they tricked me. They didn't tell me about these stains. And I've been, back and forth with her, so that wasn't the case at all. So what she did was she tried to fix the stains a little bit, and it looked like one of the stains had been treated. So then the whole arm developed this white patch. It's like white flaky patch that looks under her sleeve. Pretty terrible. And she agreed. I mean, I'm not, the person was trying to help and regretted it. But because of that, she ended up refunding me a lot of money, more than half of what I paid for the doll. And she was already selling it for a good price. And, she said, make an offer of what you think is fair. And I offered more, for her to keep more than what she returned. Does that make sense? So I don't know why she said, tell me what's fair, and then gave me back more money. But she was just being nice, I think. So where was I going with that? Oh, so that's why I'm saying, she said at least the worst case scenario is if you can't fall in love with a doll, you'll at least have a beautiful wig and the beautiful eye color, which I've already swapped out. So that was my thinking. I was like, okay, so that's why I'm saying she could be a foster child, even though I've named her. Is if I, if I need to downsize, she would be an easy one to go. And I don't think I would sell her unless I would sell her for like $10 or something. You know what I mean? I would, is it worth the trouble? So that's why she's so beautiful. I love her lip color. So that's one thing I wanted to focus on. So the lip color, I wish they did more dolls lip color like this. It's usually sometimes it can be really, really pink, but this looks like such a natural, pretty lip. And I don't know, it's again, another Josefina Mold doll. Such a slippery slope with this girl, with this mold. And so I love her right now. She's wearing a Maple Leaf outfit. So when I said that the other CYO came, or the CYO came, and the CYO outfit she was wearing, this came the same day, and these dolls came together. So they all came together, and I thought, you know what, this is obviously meant to be her outfit. So she's a hiking kind of girl. I've said so much about her because I haven't introduced her properly, and now I feel like I have. What a beauty. It's such a shame that they make so many good Josefina Mold, such nice Josefina Mold dolls, because I'm on one hand sick of them. So here's another Josefina Mold doll that I bought recently. This is Brandy. She's Brandy 2.0. I unboxed her recently, so it could be a familiar story already. She's wearing some handmade pieces with emerald outfit pieces from this year. She's Truly Me 127. I had her once before, regretted selling her, mostly because of the wig, because this is another one of my favorite wigs. And oh, I forgot to mention when Jasmine was behind me. That's my favorite wig, the Jasmine wig. And what's really nice about this Brandy, this 127, is she has a much brighter green on the green on her hazel is a much brighter than any of the other hazel-eyed dolls I have, like Belle, Paige, but Belle, for example, her hazel eyes aren't that bright. So she feels unique to me. And I'm not saying I planned to downsize her, but if anything, I would snatch that wig. But no, I don't plan to downsize her anytime soon. And then the last Josefina Mold doll I have, which brings me up to 10, is Marigold. She's a custom. She's very sweet. And I sometimes feel like I can downsize customs a little bit more easily than I can a rare, hard to find doll kind of thing. But she's so sweet. I just feel like I have these 10 that I have they're unsellable at this point. I could change my mind later, but anyway, she's got the Tiana wig, the Claudie eyes, and she just has this sweet little expression, and she's like the sweetest little girl that luckily I'm still within my maximum for Josefina, because the classic mold and the Josefina mold are both 10 because they both have so many dolls that it's hard just to say 5 or 6 for, such a plentiful, when there are so many options that are tempting because of, what they do. So doing a custom was stupid. I admit that. But she's here now. And going back to the classic mold being one of the most plentiful molds, or the most plentiful mold, classic mold. I also forgot to mention that one day I could also see myself getting Truly Me 104. I sold him off. So she's a doll that I've already sold off and then bought back. So that could happen with him if it ever went on a sale and I felt like I had enough space once I'm settled in, because I do have space for a few more dolls, but I don't want to go too overboard because, future releases. But I'm saying that could happen one day, the Truly Me 104, and then I would have the new meat outfit that's for the boys. Okay, so I said 10. I don't know what brings my total up to. I'm going to stop counting here because I want to be surprised at the end. I want to know if it is as close to 80 as I think. So let me move on to the next mold, which is, who's the next mold? I feel like it's Jess. Am I wrong? Josefina. Oh, it's Kaya. That's going to be fun to talk about. The first main note I want to make about Kaya, the Kaya mold, is she's a doll who kind of felt like Addy, where she was very special in a collection. I could see that a lot of people, if you collect American Girl at all, or even if you don't, I could see Kaya being one of those dolls that anybody would want. So it was a little regretful that I did end up selling her as a batch, but the reason I did is because it turns out when I showed you Jasmine in the Josefina Mold collection before, I showed you those really dark eyes, which I think are so beautiful. My Kaya is a newer Kaya, so she didn't have those eyes, and I thought, you know what? If I ever do, I'm going to sell off this Kaya, and if I ever do come across a really beautiful Kaya, an older one with her real eyes, and she's in good condition. I will reconsider getting her, but for now, she's going to be a good doll to offload, especially because I had an extra outfit with her and I couldn't display her without everything, and I had a pretty good bundle for her. So it was like, that was a good place to just take out a big chunk of my collection, because this whole video is me talking about how I had way too many dolls that I just couldn't even handle it emotionally anymore. So the dolls that I'm going to show you now, the Kaya molds, they're not Kaya. I don't have Kaya anymore. I do, however, have the other named doll with that mold, and I understand how people have feelings about them using the Kaya mold basically to be a boy. So I don't know if it's a trigger warning that you need, if I need to say trigger warning, because my Kaya mold dolls are all boys. And for me, I never felt bad about that. I never felt funny about it, because I thought Kaya is so special and unique among the American Girl dolls that it doesn't bother me that she's the only girl with that face mold. I mean, we know why they created the face mold with the closed mouth for her. So I thought it was smart for me in my collection to keep her as the only girl. And then if they're boys, that's kind of how they delineated the boys for whatever reason, arbitrary, whatever. So I don't mind. So anyway, this is Logan, and he, in my collection, represents me. He's not my mini-me. I don't call him, I guess he is, but I don't call him Blaine. I call him Logan. I still give him his name, but that's why he's wearing a My Little Pony shirt, and he has his My Little Pony in his hand, which is such a, I know people had such a negative response to these what do you call them? I guess dynamic hands is what I would call them, but more posed hands for Tenny and Logan. And it's too bad that people had such a negative reaction, because I would have loved if they did more of the kind of hands that they have here. They look better. You can have your dolls hold things. He can hold on My Little Pony. That is so cool. Because when I was a kid, I was always holding a My Little Pony too. Oh, and the girl who sold me the Selena doll and the CYO, the one with what I was just talking about with the stains on her, she also sent a couple 80s shirts to go in my Corrine collection. So that's why as soon as I saw it was a My Little Pony shirt, I was like, oh, that's going on Logan. That's my shirt. That's me. I would have loved to have this shirt as a kid. I'd love to have this shirt now. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to put that on in the universe, and all of a sudden there's a My Little Pony shirt on my doorstep. But I'm just saying it's so ideal for me to have a doll wearing a My Little Pony shirt. And these are, okay, the My Little Ponies are probably a little bit too small for American Girls, because these are 1/6 scale, and I think these dolls are they 1/3 scale? Is that how it goes? 1/8 scale? I don't know. I don't know how the scaling goes. I just know that they're probably a little bit small, but it looks fine. Talked way more about Logan than I probably needed to, but I did have a lot to say about the Kaya mold, and that I'm only sad that I didn't have the proper Kaya. I'm not sad that I got rid of my Kaya collection. I'm only sad that I didn't have the real one. I did at one point have a real Kaya, as in a doll that I bought for $10. I'm saying he because the hair was so bad that I ended up cutting it into a sort of, not a bob, but like a mushroom cut. And he had those eyes. So when I was early in downsizing and he had stains and he was in pretty rough shape, I thought, you know what, $10 is worth it for these eyes. Let me pop them out and, you know, just throw out the doll, because I'm not going to sell this doll. I only paid $10, and anyway. So that's why, knowing that how beautiful those dark brown eyes are, I just didn't love my Kaya as much anymore once I realized what was going on with her. So that's just how I feel. And there's nothing wrong with your Kaya if she has the regular brown eyes, just, you know, that they weren't always her eye color. So the only other two Kaya mold dolls I have are CYO dolls. They're the only other two for now. The first one was my first CYO that I ever did. I made him as a Christmas present for myself. His name is Blaine. I don't have to tell the story again, but it wasn't named out that way on purpose, but I like that it's his name because he was my first CYO. And then I put up in Courtney's World because in the 80s, I would have loved to dress like this, but I wasn't allowed. And so he has a lot of my favorite things, the dark brown eye, or the decal brown eyes, freckles, the medium skin tone. And you can only get this wig in the CYO shop. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to put this wig on my first CYO doll. And then my second CYO doll is Jericho, and he is, of course, the Kaya mold. And he's got the lightest skin tone that's available in the CYO shop. He's my only doll currently with pinwheel green eyes, so that makes him kind of special. And of course, he's a redhead. I love redheads. And freckles. I have to try to not make all my CYO dolls with freckles. And I'm telling you, I do have, so what I was saying earlier, I don't know if I said this earlier, about, you know, my main wish list for a lot of the dolls would be versions of them that you don't typically see. So I mentioned the classic mold having a 30 or 35 skin tone, CYO generator. I would also love to see, in my collection a Kaya Mold boy doll with the 35 skin tone. And so chances are there's one being made right now. So yeah, I'm not done with my Kaya Mold collection, and I definitely have space to have more Kaya Molds. I just want them to be as unique from each other as possible, which is, it's only so much you can do. But I'm trying, you know, when I'm in that CYO shop, I'm trying to choose the most unique things, and guess what? The next CYO boy, he also has freckles. So stupid. I have to try not to do freckles every time, but I just love freckles, so it's not my fault. And I think that's the only thing I really have on my wish list for Kaya Mold dolls, is the one that's already on the, not on the way, but in, you know, in progress. And if I ever saw a really good regular eye color or original eye color Kaya doll, but I don't really see that happening, and that's fine. I mean, I made peace with it. As previously mentioned, I have to let all these dolls settle in before I decide any more dolls that I'm going to put in my collection. Right now, I took a little sneak peek, and so 3 obviously for Kaya. I have to move on to my Jess Mold dolls, and the number's low enough that I already know how many there are, so give me a sec. So now on to the Jess Mold. I'm just going to jump right in with the last doll that I unboxed a couple videos ago, though, I think, at the time that I'm uploading this. And this is Truly Me 130, right? I forget the numbers almost as soon as I finish unboxing and I don't have the box in front of me, number's gone. But I wanted to show her because she's part of that new gift set that, you know, the quality is not the greatest, but it's all cute. It's all really cute stuff. And because I hadn't opened her and had her settle into my place yet, I didn't know her name, and people were curious about the name, which I think is, it's like, okay, I'm not annoying, but I'm not saying as silly things as I think by telling people the names I come up with their dolls. So her name is Gina, and I like to think it's short for Gorgina because she's a very gorgeous doll to me, maybe because she's new, whatever. And I wanted her to have a G name, if you're curious, because she's got an AG logo on her backpack, and her best friend is Angelique, so I like to think that's their initials on their backpack, you know, because they're very, very close friends, and they display so lovely beside each other. And I also wanted to show that I had to sort out her bangs. I wasn't able to just put them straight down, as I was saying in that video when I unboxed her. So I had to do a little side part like I do with my Samantha dolls, and to me that makes the difference. I much prefer her this way, so I'm not too sour that her bangs are so long. And quite a few people mentioned in the comments when I unboxed this that the dress style, I said very 60s, because I think I don't always know the difference between hippie, I was mod and hippie kind of bleed together for me. So I thought it was more mod, but I guess hippie is kind of how it looks too because of the flowers. And so people said it looked like something that could be either in Julie's world or in Isabel's world, and especially with this pattern, it looks like this came out of Isabel's bedroom. And I wanted to show people because the thing is, I wanted to figure out something to put underneath, and I said a frilly blouse. And so I went with the blouse from Julie's collection, from her Christmas outfit, because you could see the frills here and up here, and because the dress that this came with is the exact same shape. It's not as cheap. It's not this thin little polyester silk kind of getup. It's velour velvet, but it has the same belt and flowers too. So it just seemed like the perfect thing to put under here. I hope she doesn't look too constricted because of the coat and everything. And people also mentioned they do a lot of fur coats, and I thought I knew that I had 1 or 2, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. As I was, you know, redressing some dolls here for this video, I was like, oh yeah, I have more of these fur jackets than I thought. Corrine's got one in her collection. Somebody else does too. And it's like, I'm already forgetting because I think my brain lets go of this stuff. But aside from there are a lot of jackets with fur on them, whether it's the cuffs or not. So yeah, maybe they do these things a lot, but I still think it's cute and I love the set. And I'm glad that I didn't corrupt anyone into thinking it was any better than it was if they didn't like it. And that some people were like, okay, I was wanting to see it open. It's very cute. It's a very cute set. A lot of fun. And because I'm talking about the 70s here, you know, I didn't show you her long hair, but you're probably familiar with the doll. 130, right? I'm pretty sure she's 130. But correlating her with Julie's World, my other Jess Mold doll, another one of my dolls that's, you know, I'm going to have a mausoleum when I'm done because she's going to have to go up in it. I love Ivy so much. And I always said, if I ever got rid of Julie, because she's a Josefina Mold doll, Ivy was going to have one extensive wardrobe. And now she does, because she inherited all of Julie's clothes except for Julie's meat outfits. And this is a little bit of a mix and match, so I don't think I need to tell you what it is, but it's all Julie stuff, well, Ivy stuff now. And they used to do this thing with the Jess Mold dolls where before they started painting eyelashes on. See how she has the painted corners? And my understanding is they did that because the doll eyes, because they're sleepy eyes and they're very round, they tend to make the sockets on these dolls round to begin with, but they're getting rounder and rounder. So I think they couldn't really give the proper almond shape for an Asian doll. So what they did was they compensated by adding those corners. And I really like how it looks. I miss it. I have a couple dolls who have it, and I'll show you another one in a sec. But I'll move on to the next Jess Mold doll that I have, who will show you how they look now that they stopped doing the painted corners. Now they have eyelashes. And this is Kylie. Ugh, what's her number? Is she 110? Let's just say she's 110. I don't remember. But she's my first, out of all the dolls that I have in my collection, she's my first fantasy colored hair doll. And so I want to say that I used to have a lot more fantasy colored hair. Am I saying that right? Fantasy colored hair dolls? Fantasy hair colored dolls? Wow, it's leaving my brain. It's getting really late. So I used to have a lot more, but I've tended to, because I thought I liked them, but I tended to re-wig them. And there were just a couple that I had left that I was like, no, I really love. I want them to be my colorful haired dolls. And I've recently discovered that the colorful haired dolls feel dated now. It feels very, would it have been like 2016, 2017 that they were doing this? Maybe a little bit later. But they're not feeling very, because American Girl has changed a lot as, you know, collaborations and getting away from historical. They've just taken on a different business model. Let's call it that, to be diplomatic here. And so as the dolls are evolving, or maybe devolving, so are some of my tastes. And so I feel like I'm not really as into the colorful hair dolls as I once was, which is my way of saying I do have a wig planned for her, to re-wig her one day. So this may be the last time I show her in her proper wig. And she was up in Courtney's World, so I just changed her because I wanted to modernize her a little bit more, because I'm, you know, playing with the idea of figuring her out. I believe she has the 5 skin tone too, the latest skin tone. And this is the only time they've done the Jess Mold, aside from the CYO shop, with blue eyes, basically making her look, I want to say she either looks white, or sometimes I think maybe she could look like a K-pop star, just because, you know, K-pop singers, they'll often wear contacts and have colorful hair, hopefully wigs, because, you know, that's a lot of hair dye if they're always changing their hair in every single video. So I think like she doesn't have to be a white doll just because she's blonde and blue-eyed, but she could be, and freckly. And then the last doll, I think I said enough about her, very abruptly jumping to the last doll, is the only boy doll they've done in this mold. Is he truly me 75? 76? 70, he's 75 or 76. And then he's the other one who has the painted corners in his eyes. And it really, for me, it gives it the effect that it's going for, and they could do it for, they could probably do this for other dolls, and I do have one more doll they've done it for only once, but not a Jess Mold doll. And I think that's all I have to say about the dolls that I have. I have only 4, so I'll put that in my tally in a minute. But on my wish list, the only thing I have on my wish list, the reason I got 130 was to compensate, to replace, substitute the Zoe doll from the K-pop line that had, as far as we know right now, has been canceled. Not canceled. They are no longer taking pre-orders. Whatever is made that's it. Even though they originally said they were going to be in store in November. But part of me, the wishful thinking in me is like, oh, maybe this is just to create hype. Maybe they weren't pre-selling very much. And so they took them out of the store to make it look like, oh, you lost your chance. And so that if they're like, oh, for a limited time, you could pre-order them, or they do put some more in the store, maybe they'll sell better. That's my one hope, because, you know, the story that I heard and spread just a little bit on social media, and that was not my intention, but I live in a bubble. So I think when I say something, only you're going to hear me. So that's why Zoe is on my tentative wish list, but I would not pay, you know, aftermarket prices for her. Don't need her that bad. And then aside from that, because that would only, if I did get Zoe, that would bring me up to 4 and a boy, so it's not 5 yet. I would love to see one day, probably in the CYO shop, because I don't think they're ever going to do a Jess Mold doll in a 30, maybe a 35 skin tone. I just think it would look very nice, you know, and very unique. At least, you know, maybe not in my collection so much, but at least in the Jess Molds that I have. So I think that's all I need to say about the Jess Mold before I move on to the next mold. Is it Sonali? I think Sonali is next. Wow, collecting all my Sonali Mold dolls burst a little bubble. I'm at my maximum for Sonali Mold dolls. She's one because there aren't as many Sonali Mold dolls, unless you look at my collection. I wanted 5 to be the maximum, but then I can bend the rules a little bit as I've been doing. So let me get the first one out of the way so that I can clean up behind me, because it's a box doll. It's a limited edition doll. And is this the only Sonali limited edition doll they've ever done? The Winter Princess from 2021? Looking at the box cover over there. And this was one of those dolls that I didn't have on my wish list specifically, because, you know, she was old and I didn't know how to acquire one. But then I saw one, I believe it was on eBay, and her price was cheaper than retail. So I was like, how can I not buy her? She's cheaper than retail. And she does display nicely with my other holiday dolls. But in case you haven't seen her up close yet, I think I've only shown her once. One of the things about Sonali that has been happening lately, I don't know if it was always like that, is she tends to have one eye higher than the other. And it's usually, I want to say, her left eye. So when you look at it, it's on the right. It's not too bad on her, but if I look at her straight on, I can kind of see it. But it's been way worse, as you'll see. Not see, because I fix it, but I will talk about when I get to dolls who had it really bad. And I don't think I need to say anything else about her. She's covered in Swarovski. She's sparkling really nicely because I have all these lights on. And I did have to fix her up a little bit with her curls, the ones that are hanging down. And I have contemplated removing her little casts that they look like her legs are broken. But I haven't yet, so maybe I won't. But I'll still think about it. All right, so let me get her over here. She's the only boxed Sonali Mold I have. And I will be back in a sec. The first open doll I'm going to show is a Disney doll, so I don't want to dwell on her too much. I just wanted to bring her out fast so that she's on camera longer because she is my favorite American Girl doll. This is Deepika, and she is the original, so the limited edition version of Jasmine. Both Jasmine dolls didn't really look that much like Jasmine to me. I should say that for my Disney video. But I love this doll. I thought she was so beautiful right from the time she was released, when the pictures were released. Because I've always been well, not always, but I've been a Disney collector for quite a long time. And so those pictures got all over social media within my circles because I know a lot of Disney collectors. And so when I say favorite wigs, this is my favorite wig. I want to say I like it slightly more than the Josefina Jasmine wig, even though it's got a little bit more color in it than Josefina. I said not to talk about this doll for a long time. She's beautiful. She's wearing the volley outfit. And I think I should move on because monster of a video. And I want to say this is Truly Me 113, 112. I don't know. It is the Truly Me doll with the 30 skin tone, this beautiful wig. I brushed it out and I was playing with it a little bit to see if because you know how it had those curls the way it comes out of the box. So I did play with it a little bit to see if I wet it and put it back into some of the curls will come back in place. They can, but I do really like it this way, so I don't plan to do it. I was just curious if I could. Oh, the one thing I want to say about the eyes, because you'll see when I bring her up that one of her eyes is a little bit higher. Hers was really bad, but I actually removed her head to fix it because it wasn't I wasn't able to do it without heat. And I love this doll too much that I couldn't stand that I had to put double-sided tape inside her eyelid to make it stay. So you can see they almost always have a little bit more white showing under the iris of her left eye, so screen right. And this is one of those dolls. I've downsized quite a few Sonali molds, including Cecile. That's how serious I was. And I can't get rid of her. She's just, I've moved her all over the place in my collection. She was in the 90s for a while. She was the substitute, well, not substitute for Tenny, but she was, you know, part of Tenny's collection. And now she's in the 80s. I just think her aesthetic can suit so many different time periods. Oh, and I also got rid of Melody. So like these are dolls that I really loved a lot, but I had to be strict about historicals and having too many of each mold. So like almost a responsible adult here. That's how I felt as I was downsizing. And this one is just too beautiful. And I don't even think I would get, like, I feel like I would have to sell it for so cheap, it just wouldn't be worth it. So I just have to love her forever. And you know what? I only brought out 2 for this batch because the next 3 kind of go together and then the final 2 go together. So let me just get these 2 girls behind me. Even if this is the first time you've ever seen one of my videos, you've probably figured out one of the problems I have with collecting American Girl, collecting in general, but American Girl specifically, is these dolls are easy to customize. I love personalizing dolls. I love customizing. And that's why I end up with so many dolls. I will see a doll that I love, and then I will want to see that same doll in different wigs, different eye combinations. And so that's the next 3 that I'm going to show you. They're all Sonali Mold customs. The first custom I'm going to show you is, it's an extension of what I was saying with Kylie, the doll with the colorful hair. She's still the same character, but I feel like her natural hair is grown out, so she no longer has purple hair. And a doll anytime I've shown her, I've talked about how much I love the purple hair on her. She was such a fun doll to have, but she was also Corrine's best friend. Spoiler alert, I sold Corrine. So when I get to those molds, she's not there. And so I just felt like she needed an updo. She needed an upgrade, or she needed a change. She needed a makeover. And so now here's still Violet, but she's got black hair now. Her natural hair grew out is what I'm saying. That's how she is in my story. Because I still wanted to feel like it was the same character, even though she looks like she's in the 90s, but I think, or not, like the late 90s, the Millennium Twins, the Hoffman Twins. This is from their collection. It's not from the original time that this was released from Pleasant Company. But I think a girl could still dress like this nowadays because things are always coming back. And I see the hair, what do you call them? The scrunchies on her wrists. Those used to be scrunchies. They used to have elastication to them, and now they no longer do. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Probably just throw them out or something. But I just wanted them to be there to talk about that again, which I've talked about many times before, that a lot of times elastication will just disappear. You'll just go to pick it up and it's, whoa, didn't this used to be an elastic? And it no longer is. So I did not like her at first. When I changed the wig, I regretted it. And because you can never get the factory glue back to the wig. I just use Elaine's tacky glue, and it's not as good. But when I put her in this outfit, I was like, oh, this was meant to be. I love her now. I love her just as much, but on a different level. You know what I'm saying? So this is my first of 3, and I should shut up and move on to the next one. This is a doll I've shown pretty recently, and she was the long-haired looks doll. Her name is Sienna, and I bought her to go with Bethany, or no, I customized her to go with Bethany, the doll way back in the beginning with the in the pajamas. Truly Me 21 is how you may know her. But I bought the summer onesie, which is now the softest onesie I own. It's softer than the Strawberry Shortcake onesie, and I just love it. I've put her up in Courtney's bunk bed because I was always so tempted to go and grab her and like sit there and snuggle her, but I don't want to ruin the clothes. I don't want to ruin, any of her vinyl or anything like that. So I do, even though I love the idea of snuggling with a doll, I just don't love the idea of actually doing it because then I worry I'm going to ruin my dolls, and I don't like to handle them too much. I handle them enough for videos that I think reserve all my handling vouchers for recording them. I don't think I need to say anything about her. It's a custom wig, a handmade wig. It's a short bob. It looks really nice on her. Do you want me to just show it? I can always fix it up later. So I bought this on, I think, Facebook group in Canada. And I love the wig, and now I've made a mess of it, but I will fix it later. And I feel like she was a little bit to compensate for Melody, and maybe even a little bit for Cecile, because she's got the decal eyes. But I digress. Let me show you my last Sonali Mold custom. Her name is Sonia, and I hope you can see who she is. She's that newest Sonali Mold that came out with it's a medium skin tone, but I would still, for Sonali Mold, consider it a light skin tone because she's usually in a darker skin tone. And she has the wig and eyes from the pink Stardust Claudie doll. And they do not, trust me, the wig does not come out of the net looking like this. It takes a lot of, it's easy, but it takes time. You just have to kind of give yourself something to do in the background, like maybe binge a show or something. But once you get all the curls in, it just makes such a difference. And she's wearing the Truly Me Meat outfit with the Truly Me Meat accessories. And she just looks so precious. And I know I still have 2 more to show, but it's just, if I have to downsize, if there are any more Sonali Mold dolls that come out, or I ever want anything else, even a CYO doll, which I will try not to, I don't know what I would do because I'm at my maximum. So yeah, let me show you the other 2 who are the bending of the rule that I can have more than 5. Because they're boys, and boys, it's not that they don't count, but they're their own thing. They're not part of they're technically a different mold, right? Because they usually square off the jaw, they close the mouth, so they are technically a different mold. So I can have 2 or no. 3, I think, is going to be the maximum for any of the boy dolls. If it's, nope, I can't say that because I already have 1 more Kaya Mold on the way. It's whatever I feel. No, I think 5 would still be the maximum of Kaya Mold. It's different because there's, it's only the 1. Ooh, I did not need to say all that. But anyway, this is Zachariah. He is currently up in the 80s world. His outfit is a little bit mishmash of Julie's and then a Maple Lee outfit, because there was a time in the 80s when this is how guys dressed. They didn't always wear just neons and all the stuff that you see in Courtney's world. I do remember seeing a lot of guys dressed like this. I think I even had outfits like this when I was really small. And you can judge for yourself if he's got one high eye. It doesn't really look like it from here, but maybe when I look at him straight on, it will be. And I love this wig. It's sort of like the CYO wig, and they probably do. This is probably the darker version that they have in the CYO shop of this wig. Don't think I need to say anything about him because I'm showing a lot of dolls that I've shown many times, but I think he's either 112 or 113, and I think they're 112 and 113. I think they're, back to back. I just don't know which one's which. There's Zachariah and Macy. I don't even think I said her name. And then the last boy is also a custom, so he's a combo, as in he definitely doesn't count as part of the 5 Sonali Mold dolls I can have. Was he 76 or 75? One or the other. So he was the medium skin tone boy who had amber eyes, so the lighter brown, and a lighter hair color, almost a reddish brown. But I did end up swapping it out for an extra 70. The Jess Mold boy, either 75 or 76. It's his wig, and then just a regular dark brown or regular brown pinwheel eye, darker than the amber one that he originally had. He is paired with Logan, sort of my mini or represents me in my collection. He represents my partner, so even though my partner's name is not Rohan, his name is Rohan because I don't want them to be named after us because that just doesn't feel right. So now, obviously, I can't ask or put any more Sonali Mold dolls on my wish list because if anything comes out that I really feel like I must have, then in order to follow my own rules that I made up myself, I'd have to get rid of one. And I don't know who I would at this point. But if a doll comes out in some future release, I will figure that out then. I'll cross that bridge. I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. All right, so who's next, do I think? Is it Marie Grace who's next? We'll see. I figured that was a good place to take a break because we must be halfway through by now. If not the video itself, all the dolls at least, this feels about the halfway point. And we are now past all the dolls, aside from Truly Me 4, that exist within the CYO shop. So the rest of the molds are dolls that you can only get what exist and customize them, as you'll see with every single different mold I show you in the rest of the video. So now, as I was saying before that little intermission, is Marie Grace Mold is next, and I can already see all the ones here, so I know I only have 3, spoiler alert. I'm going to start with my favorite Marie Grace Mold doll, which is Covey. And I would probably say she's my favorite, or maybe shared with Raquel, my favorite girl of the year. And in case you're wondering what she's wearing, it's the pajamas from the All Day Fun set. And I mentioned when I showed Logan that someone gave me a couple shirts for Courtney's collection. He was wearing My Little Pony, and she's wearing Care Bears, which is perfectly suitable because she's up in Courtney's bunk bed. She's been there for a while, and until I just changed her a couple days ago, she was wearing the Care Bears pajamas, so now she's just a Care Bear fan, I guess. I mean, I'll change her around a lot, and I have too many dolls currently in Courtney's collection, but I do like to change my dolls around a lot, so that's why I'm saying she's wearing this for now, because it's a new outfit plus a new shirt, so it's really exciting to see her this way, but she's a doll I change a lot, because I really like this doll. As all the dolls that I've kept, I think, I would say for the most part. And now the last 2 dolls are slightly customized. They've just been eye swapped, so some of you may be familiar with who's coming. First is going to be Crystal, which is an eye swapped Rapunzel doll, the Playline version. In case you haven't never seen her before, she's got the light brown decal eyes, and I'm sure when I brought up Logan, I would have mentioned that he has her eyes because her eyes that she came with are the most similar to my eye color in real life. But the funny thing about her eye color is they're not very green, and Rapunzel in the movie has very green eyes. People have often said that she could have had the Isabelle eyes. That's not why she's wearing Isabelle's outfit, come to think of it. It's just a coincidence that Isabelle has been redressed for a long time, which you'll see in a few minutes. She's on display with a long-haired Looks doll, or custom pretty much. And so I thought, because she looks almost like a long-haired Looks doll, and that outfit, which I haven't shown yet, but you should know it, looks a lot like, it reminds me of the long-haired Barbie dolls from the 90s, so I guess that's why I decided to put her in this outfit, and she looks so cute. And somebody had to wear it because Isabelle's not wearing it, and it is a great outfit. And I like to think it's timeless. It's almost like how modern, maybe it's like through a modern lens, how people would see the millennial, or people how dressed in the late 90s. I don't know, I'm not a fashion person, but that's what I think, or at least it's an excuse I make for myself. And I'm talking a little bit fast because I am excited to show the last doll from my Marie Grace collection, Marie Grace Mold collection. Her name is Aspen, and I showed her before when I took her hair down, but I didn't show her eye swap yet. So this is the Elsa doll, and let me bring her up close so you can see what I've done with her. hopefully you can see from there that she's got the old version of the light hazel eyes. So they would have been the same eyes as Mia or Maya. I don't know why I keep saying Mia all of a sudden. And they don't make them anymore. So when I talked about Selena, the doll I bought, Truly Me 66, because I want her eyes, these are the eyes that I wanted for Aspen specifically. And I think it sounds a little bit cheesy that I gave her a very winter related name or snow related name. Did I say Crystal for Rapunzel? I think I did. And it's too bad that I'd already used the name Crystal, because that would have been a really good name for an Elsa custom. But then I do kind of see them as sisters, so it's okay. They both have very wintry kind of names. But I wanted her to have a wintry name because, not just because of her being Elsa, but I am excited to get her dressed up for the holidays, because with her green eyes and her really white hair and white skin, or white vinyl, I think she'll look really good in any Christmas outfit I put her in. So that's what I had in mind when I was thinking about eye swapping her. That's what I had to do. And as far as wish lists go for the Marie Grace mold, the timing of this video, I could have had one more doll to share right now. And as a little hint, she would have been in a box behind me. And the reason I was able to justify buying her is because I could put her away until the holidays, like all the other holidays dolls I showed still in box. So it's pretty obvious who she is. And I don't know that I'm going to unbox her when she gets here, as in do a video. I'm sure I'll open her up and look at her. But I probably won't share her until the holiday season, just because I'm going to put her away until the holiday season. At least that's what I plan to do. Whoever knows, like sometimes I just get too excited for a doll that I can't put them away. So that's one wish list doll from Marie Grace. And I am thinking about another Marie Grace mold altogether as a custom base, and I'll just have to think about it because customs are too addictive for me, as you can see. And so that's probably all I would say right now, is that I have one of the winter dolls on the way, or not winter, one of the holiday dolls on the way, and so I'll share that eventually. I'm not too sure how I feel about the Megan Maroney, the country singer doll. She's a Marie Grace mold. I like the fact that they've, for once, filled in her entire lip, because the Marie Grace mold, they always give this sort of, almost looks like a Cupid's bow, but on her lip. And I'm not sure why, but so it's nice to see a doll with the lips finally filled in. But I would have to see how she's going to be sold, if she's going to be expensive as a limited edition kind of doll, what her price range is, how I could incorporate her into my collection, because I don't want to be doing any more collector dolls aside from the winter dolls or the holiday dolls. I'm not a complete liar. I just have very specific spaces in my collection for them. I've talked longer about a mold I only have 3 dolls of, so let me just get on to the next ones, which I think are the Nanea Mold dolls. Nanea or Joss, we'll see. If it felt like I really breezed through the Marie Grace mold dolls, I probably should have given a little gentle reminder that it's because I do have the Disney video planned pretty soon within the next few weeks, so I shouldn't waste too much time on them, which is going to apply to the next 3 dolls too, because not only are 2 of them Disney dolls, they're dolls, all 3 of them, that I just shared in a video very recently. So this is the Nanea Mold. So let me start with her and just explain that I have had, except for the holiday doll for Nanea Mold, I've had all of them at some point. And whenever I first talked about the Nanea Mold, I talked about how much I didn't like it. And that's mostly because my Nanea was a bad one, but I fixed her and I put her in this amazing outfit that made her my favorite Nanea Mold doll. And I can never put her in another outfit because it's just the cutest little thing. The colors and the outfit itself, it's got so many things that I love about a doll in a little cute outfit. And now she's absolutely perfect. So I don't care about her meat outfit. I don't care about her. I never really did care that much about her collection, to be honest. But now I just think she has the most perfect outfit on this adorable doll that I used to talk so bad about. But now she looks good. And then the next doll for the Nanea Molds is, I call her Kimberly, but you probably call her Ariel. I don't know how people pronounce it. It sounds like everybody has a different pronunciation for her name. But I love this doll, and I can understand that the hair may be a little bit tricky to work into your collection. I've obviously put her in Courtney's world, and because of the bright red hair, and she's from the 80s, and the movie's from the 80s. And I just think that the wig itself is so soft that as soon as I opened her, I was smitten right away. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to figure out I'll always have to figure out where to keep Ariel in my collection, Kimberly, because I do like the wig that much. It's just, I don't know where else she would be if I didn't have her in Courtney's world is the problem. And it's not like I would ever want to customize or wig swap her or anything like that, because it's the wig that I love so much. Just look how bright it is, though. I'm looking at her on the monitor. And you know what? It's perfectly... Oh, you know what? Maybe she would be a good Christmas doll or holiday doll, whatever you want to call it. And now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe the bright red would be a little bit too much for a bright red outfit, but maybe something green would look good. Has there ever been a holiday Ariel doll? There must have been for the Disney store. Anyway, no need to dwell on her because she's another Disney doll that I will be talking about soon enough. And the last Nanea Mold doll I have, I talked a lot about very recently. A lot. It was a long video. It is Alicia. Because I rename my Disney dolls, that's what I've decided to call Alice. And without talking or dwelling too much on a doll I said I wouldn't dwell on, I do think one day I would like to discover someone who could be on display with her so that she doesn't feel so lonely. She is my only doll currently who is displayed alone. And I just quickly will say I've had a few days or maybe a couple weeks with her at this point, and she is just such a gorgeous doll. I can see why she sold out so fast. Even if she weren't a beloved character, maybe people just really liked the way the doll turned out. But I will talk more about that in a couple weeks when I have another doll that I'm waiting on. So let me get to the next mold, which I think now is Joss. We'll see. Oh, and I think because I've had all the Nanea Mold dolls at one point and only kept the ones I love, I do not have a Nanea wish list, all minus the holiday doll. And I didn't like that holiday doll. I like the fact that she has unique eyes, and I would have liked her outfit maybe on another doll, but not a doll that has matching hair. So there's no Nanea wish list that I can think of off the top of my head or at all. So now it is I am moving on to my second favorite mold, which I used to call my favorite mold because my favorite mold was only one doll at one point. So not really a mold, just a doll. And I'm going to start with, it's the Joss mold, by the way. I'm going to start with Isabel, aka Cher. I was about to call her Alicia because of the actor, but Alicia's behind me. So the funny thing about Isabel / Cher is I had the twins and I ended up selling off Nikki, which is almost blasphemous because I always thought I didn't care about Isabel. I wanted Nikki because she felt a lot more similar to my 90s self, except, you know, I was male and she's female, for the record. And so it's weird that I decided to cut back on dolls I loved so much. And it was because of my rule about historical dolls. She is Cher in my collection now and has been because of how I have her displayed, or the doll you'll meet later. And so I just felt like I could keep her and I could warrant keeping her. And she's my only doll with the Felicity green eyes, the bright green, decal green. So that also gave her priority over Nikki as well. And I do think this was a really cool outfit they did. Maybe the price was a little high, sure, but it hasn't come off her since. And as you already saw with Crystal, who's right behind me here, I have another purpose for her outfit. And whatever outfits I've kept from their collection have gone on other dolls. I just, you know, some of them are so, the Hoffman outfits they're kind of like you could use them in modern dolls and it doesn't feel like a historical thing. Not just because it's not that long ago, as we all wanted to say when they came out, but because, you know, styles come and go, and I don't think the millennial or the turn of the millennium style is all that off-putting as far as wearing them in modern days. And then next I'm going to share, I'm going to show this is one Joss Mold doll I don't think I'll ever get rid of, just because she's so hard to find, and I was very lucky to get her on such a good deal, and she really does have a special quality. It's Maritza. I hope that's obvious. And I haven't shown her in her any soccer gear. She's a soccer player in the books, right? She had soccer-y stuff in her collection, and I'd never had her meet outfit. So one day I realized that this was the perfect outfit for her. This is going to fall off, I believe. So this is how she looks in just a generic, truly me kind of soccer outfit. You know, she's got this long, beautiful, thick hair that works best in a ponytail because there's so much of it that sometimes the weight of her head can kind of pull her all over the place. But anyway, she's a beautiful doll that I would be another one of those. I'm saying top 5, top 10, but it's probably more like top 20, top 30. There are just a whole bunch of dolls that I can't imagine what would bring me to selling them. So there's only one left of my Joss Mold dolls, and it should be obvious who it is. It's Raquel, and she's another doll who's currently dressed for Courtney's world. She's on roller skates and on a doll stand, so she barely fits on screen right now with her high pony. But she fits on the shelf, I promise. What else do I need to say about her? It's just, there were so many things when this doll came out, I reacted to her. You know, I think this was kind of a doll that made me really interested in collecting American Girl again because I had stopped for so long. And they did so many things right for me with this doll. You know, one of my favorite molds, my favorite eye color, favorite hair color. And so I just think she looks beautiful, and everything I've dressed her, and I have redressed her a lot, and I just haven't shared it all the time, but she always looks good in everything. And so, oh, okay, so done sharing the dolls that I have. So my one wish list is a doll that I pre-ordered. It's a doll I used to have the limited edition version of that finally went to Amazon Canada. So I will probably unbox her when I do my Disney video, because I'm going to wait till she arrives. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just unbox her to react to her, the playline version of her when she gets here. So that's probably the only thing on my Jess Mold wish list, aside from the holiday doll that we've seen leaked pictures of, although some people aren't convinced it's Joss, but I'm just going to say that it's Joss because that's what I see, and that's how I reacted to it, to the leaked picture when I talked about it. So I'm going to say that's my wish list too, maybe times 2 for that doll. We'll see what the real pictures, how they make me feel about that doll. Okay, so I'm going to say Makena is next, and I've kind of got the last couple. Oh yeah, there are only 2 molds left, so it's got to be Makena next, and then the big one. The Makena mold is one they haven't used very often, so it's not not likely that I could have very many dolls, despite how much I like to customize. But even with that, I only have 2 Makena mold dolls. The first one being Makena herself, and I really like that. She's really unique. I like the twist that they did in her hair. I know they've done it with modern Addy now, but you know, for the longest time, this was the only doll who had a wig like this. And I also feel like a lot of people didn't really like her mold, but I also think people don't like molds when they're new. It takes people a long time to warm up to new molds. However, I think it's a really cute, maybe I can see where it's a little young looking, but that's okay. I like my dolls to be cute, and she's really cute. I don't think I have much else to say about her specifically right now because she's not even in her meat outfit, but that's okay. I actually don't change her out of her meat outfit very often. And I think I just wanted to dress her in this for a video when I unboxed these outfits. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Let me find a better pair of shoes though from what I tried on when I got the outfits. And then the other Makena Mold doll I have, the only other one I have, is a customized Truly Me 123. And even though I customized her quite a bit, I've kept her name as Tiffany. She kind of still has the same role in my collection where she is in Courtney's world, which is what I did with her as soon as I got her. But sometimes I move her around a little bit. I'm not so rigid in where I put my dolls anymore. I try to have a little bit more of an open mind, whereas before I just wanted to put them there and then never see them move. Like, you have one purpose and one purpose only. And what I did to customize her, she still has her wig. This is the Truly Me 123 had her long ringlet curls. So I just straightened the hair, the wig, like I boil dipped it to get it as straight as possible. And then I separated all the curls and just hand braided them all. I originally put elastics at the end of the braids, if you're curious how your hair got like this. And then I boil dipped that so that the braids would keep on their own. Kind of like, you know, if you were to put extensions in your own hair, it's the same kind of trick. And then I gave her the light decal brown eyes just to delineate her more from Makena, because Makena has a 35 skin tone. She has the 30 skin tone. So I just think, oh, they barely look the same anymore. I know they really do look a lot alike, but it's fine. It's enough for me in my collection. And then, of course, the other Makena, well, I actually did have another Makena custom. I'm pointing at the right doll, yeah. But I ended up selling that custom, and a doll that was hard to sell, but I knew I had to, and I was in denial about it for a long time, was Elphaba. So someone helped me get it. I felt, it wasn't just the guilt, though, that made me regret the doll. It was the fact that the doll was so unique with her one-of-a-kind skin tone. I knew if I sold her, I'd never be able to get her back because she's so hard to find on the secondary market. Understandably so, because of how unique she is. But that box, the box was the biggest box of all the limited edition doll boxes. Even her shipper box was bigger all around than them all. So I was having so much trouble storing her shipper box, which I think was what made it the worst of all. So it's like, even if I wanted to put away her box and keep the doll out, it was just too much space. So that was a really hard one to part with, I gotta be honest. And I don't regret it. It's not that I regret it. It's just once I made my decision, I was okay with it. It's just getting there was like, no, what if I do this or I do that? Or I put her here and I put this. What if I take this into, I didn't know what I was going to do. What if I rent a storage space just for these stupid boxes? So that's why it came down to just knowing I had space. And because I sold her and Wednesday, I was like, okay, no more. If I'm selling these dolls that I love so much because of these stupid boxes, then I have to be really mindful and really specific about the box dolls I get. So yeah, that's why I had to be really hard rules to follow. And so I don't have a wish list for the Makena mold. And you know what? Since the next mold of doll is only one, I only have one. I only have my favorite mold for the Corrine mold. I'm just going to bring her out right now rather than doing the whole shuffle around. It is Moana, but I've called her Rosanda Tatiana. And I know she has a hyphenated name because when she was in the 90s, I liked the name Rosanda for her. Did I say Rwanda? Rosanda for her. And then in the 80s, I like her as Tatiana. I don't need to have a logic. It's just how I feel. And I hope I showed them up close. But here is, now this doll has a fantastic wig, but of course I don't need to talk about her too much. I was about to, but then I realized she's going to be in the Disney video. So why sit here and dwell when I know that I have quite a few more dolls to get through, because there's only one mold left now, and it's the Claudie mold. And because I have so many of that mold, I'm going to have to do something a little bit more unique with how I share what I have left. Okay, it's not that I saved the best for last, it's just that it so happens that my favorite mold and my most plentiful mold is the most recent one that came out, which is Claudie. And what I said a moment ago about having to do something different here, because there are 3 dolls that have come out with the Claudie mold, of the Claudie mold, I'm going to share the dolls by each doll. Does that make sense? So each of the Pink Stardust doll will come out. I'll show them first. Then I'll show all the Claudie dolls. And when I'm saying the dolls, sometimes they'll be customs mostly. And then I'll show the Tiana based dolls at the end. I think I'll do it in that order. But I have to start with Pink Stardust because I want to get the box doll out of the way so that I can, just feel like I can enjoy spending time with the dolls as I'm sharing them with you. So yeah, the first doll I'm going to share of the Claudie mold is Pink Stardust, the one that I kept in the box. And even though I have so many of her, anytime I show her, people are like, oh, that's not fair. Let her out of the box. But it's like, hey, I've let her out of the box several times, just not this particular one. Because there is something magical to me about seeing her this way. And I feel that way about all the limited edition dolls, but because this is my favorite of all the molds, it's especially so with her. So even when I pulled, and I've already said this so many times, but as I've been, going and putting dolls away and pulling out the next dolls, it's like I get to sneak a little glance at her of where I've had her stored while I've been doing this video. And I can't wait for the holidays to be able to enjoy her this way again. So that's what I'm saying. I really want to feel that magical feeling. I almost bought a Claudie doll, not that I'm at the Claudie based dolls yet, to keep her in box, because it really does bring me back to my first time getting an American Girl doll and opening her up and how it felt. And because Claudie was my first, there is something very special about seeing her in a box. So I'm really glad that they did a limited edition version, both 2 years ago and coming up again this year. So she'll have company soon enough. These won't be the end of my Claudie molds, which means I do have to do some downsizing. And I have. So let me show you who's still here and explain who's gone. So for those of you who can't bear to see a doll in box, let me show you her free first, the one that I have freed. This is Tiana. I called her that because at the time, it still technically only is Claudie and Tiana, so I wanted to have a sort of mishmash of their names so that the Kiana, the K and Iana. Anyway, so here's how she looks when you open up and fix her curls. As much as I love this wig, and I already talked about it, I am the first to admit that it doesn't come out of the net looking this good. And some of her curls have fallen over time, so I could probably spruce them up a little bit. But for now, I think with all else I've been sharing, I was in no condition to fix up her curls. But I really do think this doll is beautiful. As you'll see, I have her as a base of a few other customs. So let me jump into the first one. I think I'm gonna... Okay, so the thing I have to explain is at one point, I wanted to have every possible variation between the 3 Claudie dolls, which means I wanted to have, the Pink Stardust base with the Tiana wig and eyes, and with the Claudie wig and eyes, and then the same thing with the Claudie base, with the same Tiana wig and eyes. And that was a trap because I'm really bad for just thinking of a way to be excessive. But I do still have both of the, what do you call them, the Pink Stardust base dolls with the alternatives. So here to start to show you what I mean Here is Zoe. So she has got the Claudie wig and the Claudie eyes, but I dipped the wig so that it's not as spiral curly or ringlety as it once was. So it's more of a little bit more like wavier, or I guess you could just say that the curls have just been pulled down. And I've changed her up quite a bit. She changes her outfits a lot, but she's I I'm trying to think of dolls that I can let go of. I'm not saying she's one of them, but I have to come up with something. I don't know. It'll be hardest to get rid of anything Pink Stardust related because it was such an expensive base doll, especially for me, because I couldn't partake in any of the sales that they had on the American Girl website. And I mean, I couldn't wait for them anyway because I'm just greedy like that. And then this is Angelique, who is the Pink Stardust doll with the Tiana wig and eyes. You know what I mean? So this is what I wanted to do for all three dolls. Have like their base version and then just swapped. And there was even a time where I was like, well, maybe now I need a Pink Stardust doll with the Claudie wig and the Tiana eyes and vice versa. And I was like, nope, you've already in deep enough as it is. So this was my way of compromising back then. But now I know I have to compromise even more. I'm afraid, I think I know how many Claudie dolls I have, Claudie Mold dolls. Anyway, so let me continue on with the rest of the Pink Stardust base dolls. But no matter what compromise I come up with, this next doll will be pried for my cold dead hands. I don't know what could make me sell or get rid of this doll in any way. She is just unlike any other doll in my collection. So of course it's the Pink Stardust doll. She's got the 77 wig. I've already shown him and talked about how much I love the wig. This is one of the dolls who got the extra wig that I had from him. And she's got gray eyes, which she may be, nope, she's no longer my only Claudie Mold doll with gray eyes. But for a long time she was. And she just looks so pretty with, you know, with her makeup. And I just feel like the short hair really accentuates the beauty of her face. And of course she's wearing an outfit that a lot of people, once it sold out, it became really hard to get. And then I had jewelry that matched it so well. Like if you look at her star earrings, they're just like the stars on the sweater. And then she's got a little star ring down here. I don't even know where I get all these things. I think sometimes it's just, I get things in lots or gifts, and then I go to pull out my little Courtney jewelry box, the caboodles, and I just find stuff that goes with other dolls. And I love that the dangling earrings, she's just so perfect. I can never part with her. Same with Mabel over here, and I've shown her very recently, so some of you could probably be familiar. It is the, why do I keep saying it's the Pink Stardust? You already know that. But what I did was, she's the only doll I removed, or the only Pink Stardust doll I removed the eyelashes. So the makeup around her eyes, it's completely removed, which completely changes her face. She looks like, without the eyelashes, I've removed some of them, as you'll see as I go along. But this is the only one I've removed all of them. And she looks completely different. I don't know if she looks a little angrier or just younger. And then I freckled her, so maybe that helps. And she's got this amazing wig, the hazel eyes, and the outfit is cute. Anyway, these two dolls, I don't know what I'm going to do. If I have to get down to a certain amount of number of Claudie dolls, there are so many I'm going to have trouble parting with. And these are probably, I would say all of them really, because they were all so expensive to make, and they all turned out so unique and special. So wish me luck, especially narrowing down my Claudie Mold dolls. So now, like I said, I'm going to move on to the Claudie base dolls. I forgot to say the number of the Pink Stardust dolls, but you can see behind me there are 6. So that's going to go in the tally. I have been tallying, by the way, as I've been going. I just haven't said it every time. But now I'm moving on to the Claudie base dolls, and I'm going to show you first my very first American Girl doll. This is my, I guess, primary Claudie. So this is the doll that I had, the only doll I had for quite a while, the only American Girl doll. And because I justified buying her by saying she'd be part of my Tiana collection, just because she's from the same era, and there were just so many similarities to Tiana because I used to collect Tiana solely, and then this happened. And so at first I put her in my Tiana collection, and then I would like just take her out and put her in my living room by herself, maybe on my table, somewhere I could stare at her because she was so precious to me, and I immediately got her meat accessories and a couple other things too. You know, like this didn't come out yet, I don't think, her CJ Walker gift set or play set. And so this was the doll that really, had I but known what this doll was going to do to me, I never would have gotten her, I don't think. But I mean, I love her, so I guess I'm happy about that. And I don't think I need to show you all of them up close. It's just, there is something about them where I have had so many Claudie Mold dolls, and they always have something perfect about their face. Their eyes are always well placed. And there's something a little unique about each and every one of them. Even the ones I'm about to show you, which are all, for the next little while, I'm going to be showing dolls that are just Claudie. They're not even customs. So this next one is silly. Well, it may seem silly at first because this is my bakery Claudie. So the only thing, the difference between, not having her meat accessories and her cardigan, it's like I've replaced her cardigan with the apron so that she can be displayed up in Angelo's bakery. Another thing I have to say, she's another doll, just like the pink Stardust. When you open her up, she doesn't have perfect curls. And that's another thing. I spend so much time, making sure every curl looks as perfect as possible. So I will show her up close to you because she has such a perfect little hairstyle sitting up in my bakery. And the bakery is sort of the focal point of my living room. And, that's where Claudie is. And I have to try to, for the record, I have sold at least one Claudie doll. Claudie as in, how I'm showing you Claudie in all her different outfits. I did manage to sell one as a little bit of a bundle because the jazz outfit or the performance outfit, I had a Claudie, so I have her displayed with that outfit on a dress form, and then I decided to go and get a Claudie to put in that outfit, and so silly. Like this is my when I talked about the downward spiral. That's what I'm talking about. It's like I feel like I just have to have everything possible, and the historical dolls are the hardest for that. They're the worst for that. But I don't know. One day I'll figure out how many more Claudie dolls I can sell because I know I need to. I know it. And I've sold one and a couple of the customs, so I feel very accomplished and responsible. But I know I have further to go. So yet another Claudie doll, just being Claudie. Here she is in her travel outfit, and I keep her up in. So my seaside diner has become a little bit more of a hangout. It's not necessarily 1950s because I think I've already said in this video. It's a long video, so it could have been another one. It could have been weeks ago. That I don't feel like it needs to be 1950s. It could be a little bit of a little teleport station where dolls could be from anywhere, any era. They can just all hang out there arbitrarily. And so she's up there with Nanea as her best friend. And now I'm just going to show Claudie in her pajamas. And I'm hoping you can see that from there they all have sort of, slightly different characters in their face. She looks younger and sweeter somehow. This one looks more cheerful somehow. Like I just feel like a different character in all their faces. And so she's the one, obviously she's up in her bed, her little bedroom display with Elsie I showed before, the Addy Mold doll, whose truly me number I never did go look up because who's got the time for that? I'm hoping some of you might know that. So this is the first 4 of my Claudies that are still Claudie. And I made another mistake with my Claudie dolls. You'll see that in a minute. In the last group, I shared my first Claudie doll, my first American Girl doll, which of course makes her special. But this next doll I'm going to share is another first for Claudie, and it also makes her special. Probably not in a good way, though. That's where this problem really started happening. This is my second Claudie doll, and the reason I'm saying that's special and probably not in a good way is because once I had her, my original intention was to put her away for the holidays because I bought her around Christmas time, and then so put her away after the holidays, bring her back out and enjoy her as almost like something new. But because I thought she was so adorable and I fell in love with her so much, I couldn't put her away. So once I did that, once I justified having an extra doll up all year round, I was like, well, let me just get all the other dolls. Like, let me just fill out all the Claudie outfits with a doll of their own. And now I have made a little bit of progress here. I put her away for the holidays. I just pulled her out now, removed her hairnet, made her look a little bit hopefully presentable. She'll look better at Christmas though. Like this is her just fresh out of the box that I put her away in. So now she is a Christmas ornament, just like I already intended. But you know what I didn't intend? To have another Claudie doll in a Christmas outfit. So this is where the next level of my Claudie problem escalated. I want to say began, but where it escalated next. So this is from Kit's collection because Kit and Claudie are from around the same era. So they, the outfits look good enough on Claudie, I think. I think they suit her. And I think somebody told me to, help my delusion, that because of the Depression in the 1930s, there really was a lot of bleed over because it's like, the style was still kind of left over because of the Depression. Is that how I understood that? Well, regardless, I still think everything from Kit's collection, at least the outfits I've seen, look amazing on her. And that's what I'm about to show you next. So finding this Christmas outfit locally, I can, kick myself for these silly things I do because look how cute she is. I should at least show you this close up because it's such a cute match. And I'm sorry if her hair is a little bit janky. It's because I just pulled a hairnet off her too because these are the 2 dolls I now put away as Christmas ornaments along with all my boxed up dolls. That's how I'm justifying keeping them. And that's soothing me a little bit for now. But I do know that I know I can't carry on this way because of where I went after putting her in this outfit. Because you see, what happened next was I was on a trip throughout Canada, and I just happened to be in a spot with our hotel that was a very close distance to someone who had another really, really cute Kit outfit that I knew would look even better on Claudie than it did on Kit. But it's because I'm a Claudie stan, not a Kit stan. So you, if you were a Kit fan, may disagree. But it is her school outfit, and since Claudie doesn't have a school outfit, then of course I needed to get this because Claudie deserves a school outfit too. Because I think that's what was happening. Is, you know, they haven't really made anything Claudie in a long time, and I, as someone who is pretty completist with her, completist and then on top of it, so that's why I just felt like I needed her to have everything that she could possibly have. A school outfit. She's got the coat, which is, so her Christmas outfit is just a coat, and now she has an actual Christmas dress. Kit has two. Claudie doesn't even have one, so Kit can share. And so here, you just need to see it up close maybe in case you haven't seen her before, but what a cute outfit for her, right? It totally looks like something Claudie would wear, and it is because now my Claudie doll wears it. It's a problem. But so when I got, and then the other part of this story with these Kit outfits is the reason I got the Christmas outfit is because there was another outfit that somebody, for the record, the Christmas outfit, I don't know if I said it when I was talking about it because I'm so excited now to talk about Claudie stuff, is someone, I literally walked to pick up that Christmas outfit. That's how close they were. And I ended up settling for the Christmas outfit because the original outfit I wanted was the golf outfit, Kit's mini golf outfit, I think it's called. And so when I talked about that, when I showed the Christmas outfit, someone said they had the golf outfit, and someone, you know, a friend of the channel, and someone I know we talk on Instagram too. So she mentioned having the outfit and not really loving it. I think she wasn't using it. So she offered to give it to me. And I did have a few extra Claudie dolls because of the Harlem Fashion Row, I think it's called. So I did have a few Claudie dolls that I could put in these outfits. So I didn't always have to buy another Claudie doll, I don't think. Maybe I did, the next one I did. And so how perfect isn't this, not just for Claudie, but for me? It's my favorite color. And of course it looks better on her than it does on Kit. I just feel like that MKM, which is Kit's initials, would be the designer or the brand maybe. So maybe that's the you know what I mean? It's just or you can't even tell what it is necessarily when you look at it. But this is another really amazing outfit. And the really good thing about it is because it has this knit hat, it covers the stain that she got from wearing the jazz outfit that has the headband that a lot of people complained about staining. I don't know why I thought my doll would be immune. She wasn't. But maybe one day I'll figure out how to do that dye removal trick. It's just, I haven't yet. I haven't tried it yet, to be honest. But maybe one day. I mean, I'm going to have to because all of these dolls are getting stained over time, even from American Girl outfits. So do with that information what you will. And now this is the last Claudie as Claudie before I get to the customs. I started looking into Kit's outfits and realized Claudie absolutely needed this outfit because she has a scooter, but she doesn't have a scooter outfit. And Kit has a scooter outfit that is in the exact color scheme of Claudie's scooter, which I find very suspicious. It's almost as if this was really meant for Claudie and not for Kit at all. Right? You see it, right? I'm not going to break the scooter this time because every time I've shown her in it, I've shown the scooter, but right now it's just about the dolls, and I really had to squeeze her through where she's on display. But this is literally the colors of the scooter, which is over my shoulder. You know, it's like an orangey, creamy kind of scooter, and then the handlebars, no, the wheels are this color. So I'm telling you, this was meant for Claudie. You can't tell me anything else. And of course I have to show it up again because I think this is probably my favorite Claudie look. And I'm saying that out of, how many do I have behind me right now? Like, well, how many are behind me? 6, 9. So out of the 9 Claudie looks, 10 if you do include the doll that I sold, because I'm a responsible adult here, then that's 10 looks that I have on Claudie. And out of all of them, this one is my favorite. Yeah. I probably don't need them all on display at all times though, right? So I have to figure something out. I know I do, but they're just so cute. All on display at all times. But I know maybe I'll just have one doll who wears Kit's collection and keep the Christmas dolls because they're just put away for the most of the year anyway. You know, maybe I'll have, no, I don't know. But I do have to downsize. Anyway, that being said, and I've talked about them enough, let me show the Claudie base customs. My first Claudie base custom that I'll share, she's interesting because she's gone through a lot of development. The first time I customized her was actually in a video when I did my Claudie deep dive. I think, yeah, it would have been the part 2 where I opened the doll on screen and I went with the vision that I had. It didn't work on this base, but you will see a reattempt later on a different base. So obviously it's a Tiana base. And luckily I didn't give up because I hated her when I first, not when I first did it. I was, overwhelmed, but then I said, let me think about it, sit with her for a bit, and she looked really bad. So I'm glad I didn't stick with the original customization. So I did everything. I redid her eyes and I redid her, well, I didn't, what I mean is I swapped out her eyes for another set and her wig for another wig. But I still kept the freckles. So let me show you her up close. So she's a freckled Claudie doll. And I believe I removed her bottom lashes and I just kept the top ones. I could have removed a couple of the top ones because I was trying to show on camera what I did to remove eyelashes. I probably would have done it with her eyes removed, but I don't remember now because it was so long ago. And then I originally had a bright blue eye on her that I'll talk about later, but now they're gray, which I think is much more subtle. It suits her much better. And she had a blonde curly wig. And now her final form is with the Truly Me 80 wig. I no longer have Truly Me 80, which, she wasn't in my Josefina Mold dolls. So this is where it would end up with the wig, and she was a custom anyway, Truly Me 80. And then this outfit is an old American Girl outfit that I got from the same person on my trip that I got the school outfit from. And she just looks so lovely. I'm always tweaking her just a little bit, adding jewelry. Her name is Neela. I forgot to say that. And the reason her name is Neela, it's a Hindi word for blue, but I thought it was blue in other languages too, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It means blue, so that's why I went with it, because she had blue eyes, but now she doesn't, but she wears blue, so that's why I have to keep her. She's always have to wear blue now, I guess, with that being her name. And now the second Claudie-based custom I'm going to share is back to what I was saying when I shared the Pink Stardust customs that I wanted to have, the Tiana mold or the Tiana wig and eyes, etc. So this is Claudie with the Pink Stardust wig and eyes. And it is, in case you don't know, it's a pretty unique eye color. It's the amber. It's not the dark brown pinwheel. And her name's Amari, but I changed her up a lot. But she's been in Courtney's world a couple times, and I think it's time for her to try something new, because I do like to change her up and see different styles on her. But the little high half ponytail with the curls is so precious on her that she often gets stuck in that same kind of hairstyle. And now I only have one more Claudie-based custom, for which you may want to cue the harps, because it's not my first custom, but I feel like all the customization I did before this doll was leading up to me being able to make this doll, because I think because it's a labor of love, she turned out this good. I don't think it was really like a skill. I think it was just the love for this doll took over. And this is a proper Tiana doll. Proper, because in the movie, Tiana, I'll bring her up close in a second, but Tiana has a deeper skin tone. And I am going to bring her back for the Disney video, but I can't not talk about her when she's on screen, so I'll probably say a lot of this again. In the Princess and the Frog movie, Tiana has a deeper skin tone, and I love the Tiana skin tone as an American Girl doll, but that's often why I prefer the Disney dolls not to necessarily be Disney characters, because they have these unique, beautiful skin tones. And I was just happy. After I did the work, I was happy that at least the wig and the eyes existed that I could put on a Claudie-based doll, because I already said earlier that to me, she already was kind of like Tiana in my collection. And now this was just a vision or a dream come true. And there's a lot of Swarovski on this dress. What I did, in case you don't know, is I took this Emily Rose dress that I had and the American Girl dress, and I just took them both apart and sewed them back together in what I thought would be the best mashup of both pieces, because they both had, the Emily Rose gown was pretty high quality. Like the piece that they used, the silkiness that they used, it was all better than the silky stuff that was on the American Girl gown. But I loved the mesh from the American Girl gown because it covers the body, and because they're kids, I just feel like it's a bit more comfortable for a kid to be dressed that way. And I just threw on whatever layers would just make it puffier and look better. And she's got the cage from, it was part of Marie Grace and Cecile's collection. I don't think I could show it to you because of all the layers. It was part of that collection, and then also went into Be Forever Addy's. You can see it, right? So that's what's under here to make sure that the gown has the right shape. But the thing about the American Girl gown, it keeps that shape because it's such a hard polyester, so that's a difference, and that's why this is actually better. It's being held out, even though it's more delicate fabrics. Okay, I've said enough. And like I said, I'm going to say it all again in a few weeks, because I'm going to bring her back out. And every time I bring her back out, she's so much work to bring out because of where I have her displayed. I better do my best and talk about her. So now you get to see her up close in case you haven't already 100 other times. I glossed up her lips. I gave her some, I'm hoping, subtle gold eyeshadow. And then a Swarovski necklace with not just the beads are Swarovski, but the pendant is Swarovski. And is the light hitting it the way it looks like it is on my monitor? I hope so, because it's looking great from here. And the earrings, so the drop pendant are Swarovski, and then all the rhinestones, I guess you call it, the flat back Swarovski crystals are all over the dress. I'm so proud of how she came together. I forgot to talk about her headband, her tiara. I, again, did the best part. So it's got the parts from, so that you could see the Emily Rose parts or the green parts, and then I put the yellow fabric parts from the American Girl one because that was actually fabric, not plastic, but the headband part was plastic. Oh, and she's got a little frog from a Disney Animators Collection set, and it was a perfect size, perfect scale for an 18-inch doll. So I take no credit for this because she came together so magically. And it was my first time doing an eye swap. I was so stressed, but it turned out pretty good for my first eye swap. And I mean, I've had to fix her up a little bit. I have replaced her string with a cable tie, zip tie, that's what you call them in the States. And I ended up having to fix her bead necklace. I took the chain from I actually attached it on one of the chains from the original because it kept falling apart. Not that I minded having to make it better every time, but anyway, she's perfect. She's flawless. So proud of this, even though I feel like I deserve no credit. All right, this is it for my Claudie dolls. And now moving on to the last set of Claudie Mold dolls, which are the Tiana dolls. And how many are behind me? Is this 11, 12? Yeah, 9 behind me and 3 on screen. So I have 12 of Claudie. I had 6 of Pink Stardust. Oh, I really need to downsize this mold. How am I going to do it? Anyway, she's part of my Tiana collection, so she's not part of the display. I don't count her number. Not really. She's there, but she's not on, you know what I mean? I don't have to take up space with her. Another excessive thing about my Claudie Mold collection is that American Girl essentially released 3 Tiana outfits, 1 on the doll and then 2 extra that you could buy separately. And now, so I used to have 3 Tiana dolls as well as my custom, but then I decided one day that I don't need to have all 3 outfits because I have the ultimate Tiana behind me in the green gown. So now I only have 2 dolls that are actually Tiana aside from my custom in my collection. One of them is in my Tiana collection with her, and that is my blue gown, or my Almost There Reprise Tiana, which is a special doll to me because this is my favorite look from the movie. A lot of people don't feel... Okay, no, I'm not going to talk more about the Disney stuff because I have another video coming, but I have a hard time shutting myself up when it comes to Claudie. So let me just show you. This is one of the 3 dolls that I keep in my collection as actual Tiana. So there is Almost There Reprise Tiana. And then this is almost like Almost There Tiana because when she sings the original version of the song, she's wearing her waitress outfit, but then this is more so her going to work. I think they called it her work outfit, right? In American Girl. So the only thing that's different about her is I let her hair down. So she's got more of a ponytail in the back like she did in the movie. I have her on display up in Angelo's Bakery so that because they're from the same time period she's the Tiana essentially in my actual American Girl collection. And I used to have another one up in where I now have the Elsie doll with Claudie in her bed. I'm just trying to get through this really fast and I won't shut up talking. So yeah, these are the only 3 actual Tiana dolls in my collection, but I have quite a few Tiana custom bases to get through. I'm just going to jump right in with Stacey Dash's character in Clueless. This is Dion, and sometimes these customs are so embedded in my head as the character. I forgot. I was looking around like, this is it, right? These are the last of my Tiana customs. And then I don't know what made me think of her all of a sudden. I was about to sit down and show you all these customs. That's why she's in here with these 2, because I didn't put her off with the rest of the customs. Yeah, so sometimes it's really hard remembering who's who. So this isn't a custom that I should show you up close because she's got Leah's eyes. And I've talked about that eye color quite a few times, but it just looks different on everyone. These are Leah's actual eyes. Again, one of my favorite eye colors. And it took a long time to get under my radar because it's such a rare color. You don't really see it because it's not produced anymore. But I feel like there weren't a lot of characters who had this eye color, even back when they used to make more of it. It's Tiana's wig. I just braided it myself, put elastics at the end, and then trying to trim them so they were short. I know that the dolls that they were displaying in this had long braids, but I felt like this is more how her braids looked in the movie. So I was trying to emulate Stacey Dash as much as I could, and I think she had the perfect skin tone for Stacey Dash if she were a doll. Yeah, the nose ring is kind of, it's not really pierced in there. It's held on like it clinches, but I use a little bit of glue or fabric tack just to keep it on there. And it's been on there for months, so I guess it's fine. I guess she's fine. And that's why I have to keep Isabel so that I have this perfect setup for the Clueless girls. And now on to my last 4 dolls, all Tiana-based customs. And there's one I've shown a couple times, but I can't wait to show her her new outfit. So that's why I've been kind of talking fast too, because this outfit just arrived today and you need to see it. I'm going to start off my final group of dolls with a custom who may be making her final appearance on my channel. It sounds dramatic, but I'll explain in a second. This is Kavea, and to those of you who don't know, that is my youngest niece's name, and I made this doll, this custom, based on her. It is, in case you can't tell, remember how I said I wanted to do the swapping of the 3 main dolls, and so this is the Tiana doll with the pink Stardust wig and eyes. And when I first created this doll, based on my little niece's, she's not little anymore, but based on her personality, so she was, more rough and tumble. I didn't bother fixing up her hair. I had her in a very childish outfit. But then, as kids do, she got a little bit older and she's a teenager now. So I ended up updating her so that she did reflect my niece a little bit more. And I always made her with the intention of one day giving her to my niece as a gift. I didn't want to give the doll to her when she was too young because she was rough. She was rough on her dolls. Whenever I would get her doll for Christmas or gifts or whatever, she would want to play by banging them together. Within 5 minutes, half their outfits were half their outfit pieces were missing. Their hair was just a tangled mess. She just did not take care of her toys at all. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this to her when she's a little bit older, probably an adult. I don't know how long I was planning to hold on to it for because, now that she's a teenager, she wouldn't care about dolls. And so that's why I was like, she's not ready to have the doll yet, or not ready. I think she's ready. I think she just wouldn't care. But then my sister sent me her birthday was recently. Both my nieces, she and her sister, their birthdays are about a week apart. So we celebrate them at the same time. So they're like 5 days apart. And so when I was there, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. My sister sent me just doing a little idea for her Christmas gift. And one of them was a doll. And I was like, she still cares about dolls? She's, in junior high school now. I'm surprised. And, because when I see her now, she's not the same child. She's very teenaged. She's always on the phone. She doesn't come and sit at the table anymore when we're talking. She doesn't want the attention she did when she was a child, not the same kind of attention. So that's why I aged up the doll. And so I was surprised, but impressed. I mean, of course, I love getting people dolls. I love getting gifts or people dolls as gifts. So then when I was there for their birthday, their shared birthday celebration, I gave my older niece the Maple Lead doll that I picked out the designs for it. KMF 57 is based on my niece because the sculpt of that particular Maple Lead doll really does look like how my niece did as a kid. Even my sister sees it when I showed her the different dolls, not just the one that I picked out. So anyway, I was talking about at Christmas with my oldest niece saying, oh yeah, I know you won't care because you don't like dolls. I once got her doll for a gift because she loves Stitch from Disney. And she was just like, oh, what am I going to do with this? So I said, no, you wouldn't care about it, but you're the first human, you're the only human I've ever seen being born. So anyway, I got a little bit sappy, I guess. Not I got sappy. I was just telling her the truth about how I built that doll, chose that doll. And so I showed it to her. She's like, oh, I want one. I was like, you want one? I never got you one. So anyway, I ended up getting the oldest niece the Maple Lead doll for her birthday because she was so excited at Christmas. She cried knowing that there was a doll out, got happy tears that there was a doll out there literally based on her. And me thinking that now my youngest niece is old enough not to care. It's such a long story, but this video's already like 5 hours, who cares? So my niece, the littlest one, who this doll is based on, that I made myself with my own hands, I noticed that when the oldest niece was gushing about her doll, my littlest niece had disappeared. So I think she was, I don't know if jealous is the right word. So I was like, you know what? I gave the oldest sister a doll that's based on her. I think it's time to give her this doll that's based on her for Christmas. But, I have to still have to get the packaging ready, so it's not ready. But I just don't think I'm going to have a reason to bring her back anytime between now and Christmas. So this may be Kavea's last video appearance. So when I aged her up, I added this school outfit because, now that she's in Now that my niece is in junior high, she's a bit more, well, I wouldn't say she's more serious about school. I would just say she's, she's just older now. She wouldn't wear an outfit like this, but I feel like it is suitable for her. And I do feel, this is a bit more mature version of the doll that I made. And I think she's going to love it. She just, once I get that packaging together, she's not going to be allowed to open the doll or touch it because I'm worried she's still rough. And so I'm a little scared to give it to her, but I do feel bad about how the birthday gifts transpired. Now, I've said enough about Kavea that I can move on to Keisha, which is, these are all Tiana bases. I have to stop saying that. She is my long hair looks Tiana, but Keisha. And so she is the doll I have with the Rapunzel custom named Crystal. So it's Crystal and Keisha. And I do have them set up in the 90s world because I still have things left over from the twins, just because I haven't gotten around to selling everything off, like play sets that I already mentioned. So she has some of her bottom eyelashes removed. She doesn't have anything because this is before I was starting to do that. And so what's unique is so far they haven't released a Claudie Mold doll with just the regular pinwheel brown eyes. That's what she has. And I think she's my only Claudie Mold doll with that color of eyes because I ended up selling a custom that had that same color. And that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to sell off dolls of each Claudie Mold or doll that I already have representation of. So I didn't need to have 2 dolls. You know what I'm saying? We're just looking for anywhere to cut because I have sold quite a few, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 Claudie Mold customs, which is a lot for me because I never thought I would be able to part with any of them. But I know I have to, and I've said that so many times, but I'm still reminding myself that I still have quite a ways to go with downsizing my Tiana collection, Claudie collection, and my Tiana collection too, but that's a different story. Now I've saved my 2 favorite Tiana Mold or Tiana base customs for last. Let me start with Aaliyah because I've shown her recently when I got these overall sets. I put that on her, and I've loved it on her ever since. I can't see myself changing her out of it for a while. What I love about this doll, she's got Covey's wig, and she's got Kaya's deepest brown pinwheel eyes. So it'd be really hard to part with this doll. It'd be, because it's just so hard to find the eye color. Have I mentioned that yet? It was a long time ago. Even longer ago for me than for you, trust me. So I just love this doll. Did I say Covey's wig? I think I did. And she's beautiful. She's adorable. Every time I put her in a new outfit, she's like a new doll. All that to lead up to my most favorite Tiana custom. And she's a pretty new custom, so I probably still have that element of newness and excitement about her. I made her for Courtney's World, which is fun. And I've already mentioned that I have too many dolls dressed in Courtney's, you would have seen them too, dressed in Courtney's wardrobe. So now I'm trying to like mix things up again. And so this outfit arrived today from the same maker of this overall set. And I made a special request when she posted saying, are you going to do any more overall dress sets? She made a bunch of overall sets, not just the one that I'm about to show you. But because I was driving at the time she posted, there were only 2 outfits left, and I got one of them. So this is Maxie, and she's wearing, so now she's best friends with Makena. That's why her outfit, if you remember what Makena's wearing, looks kind of like this. Now this is what I did with Neela's parts. So I took the Yvette wig and Sage's eyes, which did not match her. It didn't really sit right on Claudie as a base. And I put them on her, and it's absolutely perfect. And so these are called turquoise eyes in the American Girl world. And this is just sort of what would you call this? Like a sandy blonde curly wig. She was made as a sort of, not really a substitute for when I sold Tewila, one of my Tiana customs. But that doll I love so much. And then it was just one of those things it was like a happy accident that I was like, oh yeah, now I can make this doll. Luckily I didn't do anything with this wig and sell it off because I would have been devastated that like I could have been this close to having this custom. So I feel like she's currently my favorite custom. And I know I went on and on about my Tiana custom, but that's just one that I'm really proud of as it came together so magically. And it looks great. But I just feel like she's my favorite, and I can't, wait to keep trying new outfits on her. I think she could still essentially in this outfit be in the 80s world, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, these dolls are just dolls. They're just like little models for outfits when you think about it and making displays. Okay, I think I'm going to need to take a little bit of a moment to, how many are these? Give me just a moment to tally up all the dolls and see how close to 80 they are. I feel like if it's got to be right around 80 because just kind of, when I look around, that's what it looks like too. I hope I was counting the ones that I keep put away. I'll be back in a second, unless you already know how many I have by being a numbers wizard, which I am not. All right, I hope I didn't forget anyone. For classic mold dolls, I have 9. Addy was 7. Asian, Tim 4, showing me 4, 1. Josefina 10. Kaya 3. Jess 4. 8. Sonali. Marie Grace 3. Nanea 3. Joss 3. Makena 2. Corrine 1. And Claudie was 25, broken down with Pink Stardust 6, Claudie 12, and Tiana 7, which is a total of 79 dolls, which makes me feel like I might have forgotten one, because that is such a almost 80 number that if I count the doll that's on her way, the one that I mentioned for the holiday dolls, then that is 80. Am I just trying to cheat? But regardless, that's a lot of dolls. I'm saying it's a lot of dolls, but I had so many more, which means I cut it in less than half when you think about it, because I would have had about 200 at the most, or I've had 200 dolls in and out. And when I started my channel, I think I had about 85 dolls maybe. And when I did my first room tour, that's what I think I had. I think I had about 85, 90. So maybe I had about 80 when I started my channel, in fact. So 2 years and 2 weeks and 2 days later, because that's by the time I finish recording and getting this video back, it's going to go up, I have about the same amount of dolls again. But I am going to have to downsize, especially my Claudie Mold dolls, even though I don't want to. Because the fun of downsizing is then I have room to make purchases again. And for me, it's just fun. It's fun seeing dolls go in or come in and then go out if I feel like I can part with them. And that's what I wanted to show in this video, was that, for some of us, there can be a cycle of collecting, and I don't have to feel so beholden to every single doll I have, but I'll always have my favorites. And I hope that is all I had to say. This is probably going to be a monster of a video, but you would know better than I would at this point. And I'm looking around. I think I caught everyone. And if not, I can always share them in a future video, because it's not like this is my last video ever. But it is, I don't think my next video is going to be American Girl. I've done quite a few in a row, so I probably have to catch up on a couple other things. So hopefully, whatever that video is, first of all, I guess I should thank you, everyone who got through this whole video, and hopefully that intermission was helpful. Maybe if you saw all the way through, comment Dolly Days down in the comments, just so I know that you got all the way through, because this is a long video. And the last time I did one of these, I said I would never do it again because it was so much work. But this time I figured out, I figured out the hack to just do a little bit at a time and put them away as I go. So maybe I could do something like this again one day in a year or two, not anytime soon, or for my other doll lines that I collect. So yeah, Dolly Days down in the comments if you got all the way through, and thank you. And hopefully I will see you soon in the next video.